Hi guys, is the audio coming? Yeah. I screwed up something. I for the last 5 minutes I was talking. Okay, I hit live, go live from my OBS. I forgot to hit go live from the YouTube stream here. That's pretty hilarious. The live stream did not start until now, right? Yeah. Okay. 24 seconds. Okay. This was stupid. Okay. Fair enough. I got some thoughts already gathered in my mind. So first of all, welcome to the live stream. Happy Independence Day, everyone. And this is a great occasion. This is not a great occasion for. It's never a great occasion for what we are about to discuss today. But an Independence Day is a great occasion for people like us, for Indians first and foremost, more so than anyone. So many people thought that we will disintegrate, and we managed to survive. Not least of all, we managed to survive while keeping our culture and our religion impact, our faith system intact. That's the first thing that usually goes. Not only did we survive with that, we survived as a nation as well. We survived with so many languages, castes, creeds, etc. So many cultures, so many ethnicities, even so many different kinds of people racially in one spot. We are not a racially homogeneous society. We are not a culturally homogeneous society. We are not a homogeneous society based on religion. Nothing. No homogeneous. Only thing holding this place together is the accepting and the okay, chalo chalta hai, theek hai. We'll manage it. That nature of Sanatan Dharm, that's the only thing holding this country together. And we are what the European Union wishes it was. We are what the African continent today wants to do. Since Africa has so many systemic problems in their culture that they can't just stop violence and nut jobbery. So and they keep blaming the West obviously for their problems today even. So now they think if they create an African Union, all their problems will be solved. So best of luck to them. But anyway, we survived regardless of so many people's predictions, and that's what of course pisses off the West the most. So many people thought that we will disintegrate today. What the West said about India since 1947 is what Raghuram Rajan says about the Indian economy from time to time, right? That now the economy is gone. Now Modi has made a fatal mistake. Now it's done. Okay, now I was wrong before, but now it's done. He keeps saying this after every few months that now the Indian economy is over. So that day never comes, and it's nowhere as great as I would like it to be. And there are things that I would like, and even Sanjeev Sanyal, Vivek Debroy know how to make things happen. Even Madam Nirmala Sitharaman knows how to make things happen. But there are other factors into play here, because after all, there has to be a net positive and net negative for society, of course. Because if Narendra Modi tries to be Thomas Sowell now and loses the election, and we get Congress or Trinamool in power, that's not a net gain for anyone in the society. So it is what it is. But anyway, in the same way, the West, especially England and their journalists, have been predicting that now India will disintegrate in 2 to 3 years. Okay, now India will disintegrate in 5 to 10 years. You see, so many articles have been written repeatedly. Ab India gaya, ab jane wala hai. Oh, ek right ho gaya. Now India is gone. So let's give some credit where it's due, because everyone played their part to some extent. Some went beyond their call of duty. Some played their part to the minimal amount. So all our prime ministers, from Nehru's to Gandhi's to Morarji Desai, Lal Bahadur Shastri, everyone has played some part in keeping this country together. And frankly, and we, of course, my viewers and I disagree with Nehru almost on everything, except maybe his famous phrase that "Aram haram hai." That's the only fascinating thing Jawaharlal Nehru has ever said, I think. But he did some things that kept the country together, and many other people may have done a better job. But I would, of course, make the claim that there is not one person in the whole world or in the entire country who would have been a perfect prime minister in the when the post was first created. Someone or the other would screw up in some way or the other. It was going to happen. It was bound to happen. Who are our options mainly? Jawaharlal Nehru, Netaji, and Vallabhbhai Patel. I think Sardar Patel would screw things up the least amounts, but Of course, Netaji's ways would have some side effects as well. So it is what it is. Our country has survived for 76 years, and starting from an absolute disastrous position, like no food to eat, no education, and that's when Nehru made the IITs so that his rich friends could and would not have to go to study abroad as much, or maybe a little less, or maybe he genuinely had some great intentions in his mind. Who knows? But we had to choose between some things. We had to prioritize some things, and he did so. Many different prime ministers did so, and now we are still on a rocket ship of progress. So 76 years. So happy Independence Day, everyone. Yeah, वीर सावरकर PM. Okay, Vivek 2024. ये कौन सा channel है? Nice. Okay. Someone tell me this. Did Veer Savarkar really want? Did he have any political plans? I never knew of this, because there's a relative of mine who is of course a leftist, and who casually jokes, saying whenever we discuss Nehru, she says that, oh, if Veer Savarkar had become PM, then you would see even bigger problems. Which of course I disagree with. But did Veer Savarkar have any plans to become the PM or some sort? I did not know of that. Savarkar as PM would be best. I don't know. He was a great intellectual. Would a great intellectual make a great PM? I've not read his work, so I don't know if he had some great administrative or political propositions. Bro, I am fully drunk and doing training in CISF of WBP. Nice. He didn't create IIT Kharagpur. Okay. Nehru created IIT. That was a good thing. This time real, bro. Rohanda na. Okay. Let me check some comments. Okay. Lots of comments have come. Jai Shri Ram, your live streams conveniently start right during dinner for me. Lol. Nice. Happy Independence Day, everyone. Yes. खूब busy था कि किंतु आजकल छुट्टी. Yes. कल छुट्टी. लाल सलाम, लड़ा सलाम. Yes. Did you guys join the Telegram we made for viewers? Anyways, what do you guys think? Will justice actually happen in regards to Jadavpur case? Yeah. Now let's get to the topic then. So for people who are viewing this live stream from outside Bengal, how much do you all know? So let's just read out a basic report of the incident, okay? What really occurred, and 2 more arrests have been made. So let me check that out. So the incident is that a guy called Shapnodeep Kundu, who was not even 18 years old, who was a fresher, he just came in first year in Jadavpur University, I think in the Bengali department, I guess. I don't remember exactly. So he committed suicide. As far as we know so far, the claims are that he has probably committed suicide. He jumped off the balcony of his hostel inside the Jadavpur University campus. And one person has been arrested called Saurabh Roy Chaudhary. And these are the 2 new kids who have been arrested. One is 19 years old, one is 20 years old. And absolutely horrifying details have come up from the incident. So the guy who jumped off to his death, he, at the last moments, he kept shouting, I am not gay, I am not gay. And that makes you imagine absolutely horrifying things. I mean, what the fuck was being done to him that he shouted, I am not gay, and jumped off the balcony and killed himself? Okay, let's read the report for people who don't know about the incident yet. There's a basic gist here, and then we will discuss. And ideally, today I honestly need your help with this discussion, not for YouTube algorithm engagement. I really need help from you all, because I have absolutely no experience with ragging. And because I studied in a city college, a college inside the city in Kolkata, where there was no ragging. Ragging mainly happens in the hostels. And I think ragging, I've heard that it mainly happens with engineering students. And so I don't have too many engineering department friends. So I don't know anyone who has been really ragged seriously, and I have not been ragged myself. So for ragging information and ragging knowledge, what are your experiences? For that, I need your encouragement. I mean, your engagement in the comment section, and then we can explore some solutions to this situation. And what specifically stops Jadavpur University from preventing these things, that we will discuss. So Kolkata police has arrested 2 more students in connection with the death of a first-year student on Jadavpur University campus who was ragged. According to police sources, the 2 were present on the spot when the ragging with the first-year students was taking place. The 2 harassed the deceased, Shapnodeep Kundu, mentally at the behest of prime accused Saurabh Chaudhary. Okay, now this is being said mentally I don't think there's any ground of course there was no injury marks on his body, but I don't think it was just mentally. Otherwise, why would someone jump to their death screaming, I'm not gay, I'm not gay. Mentally at the behest of prime accused Saurav Chaudhary, a former student of Jadavpur University who has already been arrested, police sources said. So this Saurav Chaudhary was a pass out. He was, I think, in his mid-20s or something. So he passed out and was still living in the Jadavpur University hostel itself. How that happens, for that you all know how leftist institutions operate. But he had told his father that I'm trying to get a job and I'm preparing for it, so I'll just stay back in the hostel only. He told his father that you don't have much money, I don't have much money, I'll live here, I'll manage, no problem. And of course, plenty of times, I think there was a huge controversy in presidency, of course, about 7 or 8 years from today, about kicking some former students out from the what's called the Hindu hostel in presidency. And there was huge ruckus, huge protests, somehow just magically claiming that no, even though we are pass outs, we will live in the main hostel inside the campus forever and after. Like in Harry Potter, Snape had said, always, we will live in the campus for always, because we love this institution and we hate fascism, and we have to prevent fascism by together staying with our juniors. So the arrested accused have been identified as, okay, the guys who have been arrested today, okay, Deep Shekhar Dotto and Monotosh Ghosh. Arrested students Deep Shekhar and Monotosh pressurized the deceased student mentally. Both of them mentally harassed Swapnadeep. What stupid journalism. We found their direct involvement in the alleged ragging during our investigation. Following that, we have placed them under arrest, okay? While Deep Shekhar is a second year student in the economics department. अच्छा, JU का economics, so बड़ा होके developmental economist बनेगा. हमको बोलेंगे कि कितना tax देना होगा, कितना development के लिए. While Deep Shekhar is a second year student in the economics department, Ghosh is a student of the sociology department at the Jadavpur University. But the people who have been doing this ragging are basically department agnostic. So I can't now claim that this is why sociology needs to be defunded. It needs to be defunded, but not for this. So Ghosh is a student of the sociology department at the Jadavpur University. Both of them live in the main hostel from where Swapnadeep fell from the second floor of the building and died. We have arrested 3 people, including 2 students. Okay, ho gaya. Investigation is being supervised by the highest level of our officers, Joint CP. Okay. The deceased's body was found in a naked state after he fell from the balcony. He repeatedly said, I am not gay before his death. How is this just mental torture? सिर्फ मेंटल हैरेसमेंट के लिए कोई आई एम नॉट गे बोल के नंगा होके कूद देता है balcony से. On Friday, police arrested Saurav Chaudhary, and based on his statement, police summoned 12 more students and residents of the hostel on Saturday morning and questioned them the entire night. During questioning, Saurav Chaudhary confessed his involvement in the ragging incident that culminated in the tragedy. The 3 accused had instructed Kundu to chop his hair in a specific style, as briefed by them. What does this mean? Is there any specification about this? Let's see what. Okay, we'll read that later. After taking him to a common room of A2 block, they asked Swapnadeep to give his physical details while giving his intro to his seniors. After another student who witnessed the entire incident tried to save Swapnadeep when he came to jump from the balcony, the student tried to hold Swapnadeep's hand but couldn't save him. Fuck. Swapnadeep had introduced himself into the seniors in his hostel twice in 3 days, sources claimed. Okay, now for the people who don't know about this incident, I'll tell you what this means. ये जो इंट्रोडक्शन का चक्कर है, इसका क्या मतलब है कि they are told to go around introducing themselves to all the people who are living in the nearby rooms in fluent Bengali. If they by mistake use one English word or Hindi word, they will get beaten up, and they will have to start the introduction and questionnaires again. It's not exactly a questionnaire, it's an introduction where they will have to say what's their name, what's their parents' name, father's name, etc., their entire family name. And then they will have to say what's their foundation date. So by foundation date, they mean when was the date that he was conceived, when his father and mother were having sex, and they have to make up a time or some sort. But he has to basically minus the 9 months from his birthday and come up with the exact date for his conception. and that he has to go around telling people. So that's the ragging they do, and maybe some other things as well, which we don't know of yet, because it's being said that he was screaming, "I'm not gay, I'm not gay." Why would someone scream, "I'm not gay, I'm not gay," and just because he had to tell his parents' sex day or something? So there is something else at play that we don't know of yet. Okay, next is this news. Let's see what haircut thing is going on. Victim was asked to cut his hair and give intro. As per the police, these suspects were present during the alleged ragging incident that led to Kundu's death, joining the prime suspect. Okay, this is the guy who died. The Kolkata police have identified 3 additional suspects. Okay. Yeah, so Shapnadeep Kundu was a Bengali honors undergraduate student. Died after falling from the balcony of Jadavpur University main hostel. Saurav Chaudhary. Okay, this is the guy, the prime accused, who has confessed so far. He completed MSc in mathematics in 2022, but continued to reside in the university hostel. Was arrested following his confession of involvement in the ragging incident. So, the reason that I did not jump to discussing this in my live streams 2 days back or 3 days back only because this story has confounded me to a large extent. I can't believe what the fuck is going on. I still can't understand how can this happen. A guy who has done MSc in mathematics, why would he feel the need to do this? How can he do this? How can anyone do this? I mean, criminals can do this, of course, with a specific criminal bent of mind. How can sane people who will graduate soon and live amongst us as experts, as academics, as scientists, how are they doing these things? And the most important part is the fact that Saurav Chaudhary and the people involved, the fact that they did it and did something to this gigantic extent, where it's not just ragging, not just doing a dance in some weird women's clothes or something. They have done something which has made someone scream, "I am not gay," and jump from the balcony. How does someone get to that point? That means that it's a generational issue inside the university. Why else would someone think that they can get away with it? It's not like, I don't think that it's possible that one fine morning on that morning when the guy died, Saurav Chaudhary randomly conjured up with this idea that let's take it up a notch. Let's do something that's never been done before. No, all this increased gradually. And so, many people, many generations of students have done exact same things, I think, highly possible, exact same things to other people. And there are countless victims amongst us. And there are countless victims who have gone on to do these things themselves. That's one thing common with ragging, right? No matter how evil, criminalistic and vicious the ragging, the victims also become the perpetrators. I am all for hard challenges. What I don't understand here is, these are academics. These are the fucking pussies who will always tell you that health does not matter, only mental health matters. These are the fucking assholes who will always tell you toxic masculinity is the biggest problem we have in society. These are the exact guys. These are leftists. The prime accused went to a procession demanding justice for Anis Khan, who was a member of ISF, the Muslim party of West Bengal, who is an ally of CPIM, who is attacking Trinamool from the left, saying that you are not doing enough for Muslims. Okay, ISF is saying Trinamool is not doing enough for Muslims. उस पार्टी का लड़का 20-21 साल उम्र था उसका, Anis Khan, he got allegedly killed by police. Something was done to him that I think he even jumped from his window when the police were in his home, as far as I've heard, or the police threw him off the window themselves. So for that Anis Khan, this Saurav Chaudhary went to a gigantic procession that happened. It was organized by CPIM, DYFI, SFI, ISF, all these parties, okay? And hilariously, that procession was called Insaf. Okay, the Bengali pride folk, the commies of Bengal, who say nothing good has come out of the rest of the country, everything fascinating has come out of Bengal, and Bengali language needs to be saved by preventing fascism, by preventing Amit Shah, Narendra Modi, by preventing Lord Ram from being worshipped here, by preventing Biharis from working here, by preventing Marwaris from playing Hindi songs in Radio Mirchi. Those Bengali pride motherfuckers named their procession Insaf. Okay. And what is insaf? Insaf is an Urdu or Persian something word. And what's the Bengali word for insaf? It's nyay. In Bengali, we pronounce it as nay. And it comes from the Sanskrit nyay. They had to pronounce it as, they had to name it insaf because it's Muslims involved. So they are acknowledging that religion is associated with their language. Their religion is associated with their language, but our language is associated with Satyajit Ray, not our religion. So that's their thesis. But anyway, how is this going on that a sociology guy, an economics guy, an MSc in maths guy, from three diverse departments are committing the exact same crime? What kind of criminality does it take to take for someone to do these things? And the second point is that actually there's a BJP guy called Rajarshi Lahiri. He has gone on Republic Bangla and given some great points. He's a pretty great debater and he has even been beaten up. So he has some physicality to it. If you look at him, you will understand that he's not a guy to be fucked with just willy-nilly. So Rajarshi Lahiri was bringing up this point that no, this is not Rajarshi Lahiri's point. I think he alluded to something to this akin to this, but this is also my point that Jadavpur University's problems like these things, even other universities have had problems like these, right? But why can't Jadavpur University's problems like these and even other problems that Jadavpur University ends up creating from time to time, different kinds of problems ranging across different topics, they cannot be solved in Jadavpur University? And this is the point brought out by Rajarshi Lahiri. He was saying that, and he's absolutely right on this, that Jadavpur University functions like a Pattharbaz neighborhood, okay, like all the Mominpur, Park Circus, etc. These are no-go zones for the police, okay. So their argument from Jadavpur University side is that no, police won't be allowed here. If anyone calls the police, they did call the police and they ended up beating up people randomly for no reason. And there were many Trinamool people involved in plain clothes who were pretending to be police and also beat up the students. That's when that Hok Collar Up thing happened. But for serious things, for serious accusations, no such thing happens. But the hilarious part is that when that Hok Collar Up movement happened, that happened because the police did lathi charge inside the campus. The police did lathi charge inside the campus because the students were protesting against the vice chancellor. They were protesting against the vice chancellor for a molestation accusation, which turned out to be false 1 or 2 years later. Okay, so it was an absolute disaster to begin with. But anyway, their argument is that it's an educational institution, no police required. We will solve everything, all matters on our own. We have our student unions. We have countless student political bodies. We hold a GB for everything. GB means a general body meeting. And even now they are saying, we held a GB when he was about to jump. We held a GB when he jumped. So GB kar diya, tab ho gaya sab kuch. So we will do a GB and there's no need for law and order. We are a sovereign sort of a place inside the state of West Bengal and the country called India. But no police required here. No outside laws don't apply here. And since most of them are communists in Jadavpur University, they treat the university like a commune. It's a separate sovereign entity. And that's why it's a no-go zone basically. Now, an argument can actually be made that way. There can be an argument for that. But the misuse of it is so high that it can't be afforded to be left alone like that. The argument can be that, see, when you take out God from your heart, when you take out religion from your life, that vacuum that will be created, it will be filled up by something else. Because atheism is about 20-30 years old. We are probably the first generation, the 90s kids, who in which the maximum amount of kids are atheists. And maybe in West Bengal, even our parents' generation had a lot of atheists. But in the world in general, or in India, up until 90s born kids, not many were atheists, right? So, and what's the age of human civilization? About 11,000, 12,000 years. So, a custom that was going on for 11,000, 12,000 years, and you came up with a counter for that custom in only about 20, 30 years. So, how is that going to go away one fine morning randomly? There's going to be a gigantic void in your society, in your worldview, in your even in terms of genetics. So that gets filled up with all sorts of crap, and you treat everything other than religion as religion. So in this context, what they are trying Jadavpur University to be treated as is what we would call, the religious people would call sacred. Since atheists argue, leftists argue that nothing is sacred anymore. Nothing can be sacred because the word sacred, holy, or the concepts of piety, pious, these things are in connection with, have godly connotations, and we don't believe in God. So if there is no God, or if there is a God, he is evil, because if there is God, how can you have suffering? That's the stupid binary they live in, because they have not read anything. So there is no God. If there is a God, he is evil. So anything that's sacred because of God, anything that's pious and beautiful and worth conserving just because of God, or because of that thing's association with God, has to be discarded. But your 11,000 years of human programming, that can't go away. So, and your brain is wired to treat things as sacred. So communists come up with things that are holy and sacred. They have their own notions of religiosity, sacredness, and holiness, right? So the leftists, they treat their leftist institutions as a sacred and holy place where law and order can't get in willy-nilly, which is the same thing with any temple or mosque or gurdwara, right? It's an absolutely, I think even illegal probably, a vicious and evil thing, evil situation, when a police officer or an army has to get inside a religious institution and look for criminals. So they treat their Jadavpur University or JNU campus as a religious, sacred, holy institution, and even a geographical place. Now the problem is that it can be argued that way. It is almost okay if that is the case, because we have such a corrupt country, we have such a corrupt police system, we have such a corrupt bureaucracy, we have even such corrupt journalists. So because of that, who knows what these people might use as an excuse to get into the universities and beat people up or arrest people. So imagine a situation, imagine in a parallel universe, the situation is reversed, where all these institutions are right-leaning or Hindu-leaning, and they are discussing in their GBs, in their dorm rooms, in their campus meetings, or in their campaigns, that why casteism was everywhere, and what we call caste system here is basically a class distinction, and we need to look at it in our own way, with our own lens. And the politicians outside and the police outside, the journalists outside, decide that this thing is defending casteism. This is returning untouchability, and they immediately send guards. So if we want to avoid that, we would have to keep the university as a safe space for discussing ideas. But of course, keeping the university a safe space is predicated on the promise that the students of that university keep that as a safe space for other students of that university as well. It cannot be safe space just for one group of people. That's the only problem. That's the only mistake these guys have been making, for which we can't treat these institutions and universities as a safe place. Okay. Otherwise, it could be argued that way. It can't be holy, it can't be sacred, it can't be your safe space, because you are not letting it be holy, sacred, and safe for many students inside your campus. Anyone who has a remotely right-leaning view, anyone who even wears a Janayu, anyone who is even a Brahmin, has a Brahmin surname, you are treating them like an enemy. In Jadavpur University, you are treating all Biharis like an enemy. Up until 30 years back, anyone who came to Jadavpur University daily from by a local train, which means they are coming to Jadavpur University from the suburbs or a Mofussil town or a village, they were treated, they were looked down upon. So who is it a safe space for? So at the end of the day, it becomes a safe space just for you to spew your communist bullshit, and that cannot be allowed. And for that, it cannot be treated as a safe, holy institution or a safe, holy space. The police has to repeatedly go in, beat the fuck out of any criminal, and arrest them. That's the thing, that's the situation these communists have brought these institutions to. We didn't want it. Even Hindus who are against communism inherently, at the end of the day, do have some extra amount of respect for an educational institution, right? Don't we have this instinct in our minds that चलो आफ्टर ऑल तो ये पढ़ाई का जगह है, इसमें ऐसे कुछ चीज़ें नहीं करते हैं जो कि हम बाहर करते. We are not going to do some things inside these places which we would do outside because we associate that place with Goddess Saraswati. So the people who claim that there is no such concept called Goddess Saraswati, who will do iftar parties in the institution, who will prevent Goddess Saraswati being worshipped in these institutions, are doing these things at the same time. And I can't understand how the fuck that happens. It's not because they're just leftists. Just being a leftist does not make you a fucking criminal or make you torture someone. What other thing is going on? What other systemic thing is going on that these guys have fucking lost their minds? An MSc in maths, a sociology and economics department guy is doing something that's making a guy scream, "I am not gay," and jump off the balcony. What is going on? So now the solution part. The solution is obviously that the police has to go in willy-nilly and arrest anyone they can lay their hands on, and the union can't stop them. And that is what usually happens. These are such protected sacred holy institutions, holy geographies, that just like some places are no-go zones because of pattharbazas, where the police can't go, or if the police goes, they will get probably killed. Even in these places, if the police goes, either the police will get gheraud and they will not be allowed to leave, or because of that, as a retaliation of that, the VC, the Vice Chancellor or the Registrar of the university will be gheraud for 4 days, 5 days, 6 days, and won't be allowed to leave, go back home, which is absolutely criminal and inhuman. So, and frankly, the CCTV footages have been asked to be installed in the university since I was in class 10-11. My political science teacher was from Jadavpur University, and he kind of had explained to me why CPIM is not leftist enough. We need further left policies. CPIM is doing just mainstream capitalist bidding, etc. So after learning political science from him, I had understood that the Lingdo Commission has suggested some things. I think things that have been done in JNU, but which have not been done in JU. So CCTV footage can solve a lot of these problems. Now, what the arguments that I heard against CCTV footage even back in those days were pretty hilarious when I was in class 11-12. I think arguments that go on even today. They argued against CCTV because they said that these CCTV footages, these CCTVs will be used by the government to keep an eye on all political discourse, and they will use these CCTV cameras to filter out and basically to accuse any political discourse, to accuse any remotely left of center, because they think they are left of center, right? Leftist or left of center discourse, or discourse that helps keep fascism at bay, or discourse that helps keep the university from getting privatized. They will use these CCTV footages to look upon students and hanging out and listening to their conversations, who are just trying to do good for the university or good for the society, and use those footages to arrest these people and send them to jail on bullshit charges. That was their argument against CCTV footages. But since then, we have had countless molestation accusations, and now ragging accusations, and people now jumping off the balcony because of ragging. Now, one other thing is what is surprising to me is that when such a thing happens, we know that there have been many victims of this, right, of these things, right? Because it's not like a once in a while incident. There are many victims. There are many victims who should come out by now. There are many victims in their 20s, 30s, 40s who have studied in Jadavpur University and have faced the same things. Where are those victims? Only about, I think, 2 or 3 people have come out so far. More victims are not coming out. That's a very unfortunate incident, and I know why, because they are men. It's going to be tougher for a man to admit that he was also in a situation 10 years back or 20 years back where he wanted to scream, "I am not gay," and jump off the balcony, but he didn't. But it is unfortunate. I hope they do come out. If it was a guy on woman crime of the same sort, obviously now 50 more women would have come up accusing the same guys or the same guy of doing similar things to them as well. And maybe and some opportunist women would jump into that and say that yes, I was 19 years old and I sent a nude text, nude photo to a guy, and I was manipulated and I had no consent, but I magically sent that nude anyway. Those sorts of accusations came out during Me Too as well. But I think that same kind of opportunity need to be taken up by the other male victims as well. Okay, let's check out some comments now. Okay, my comment section is frozen. Yeah. ACP has his head chopped off in Khidirpur a few decades ago. Yes, that's a famous incident. He went to Khidirpur and got killed. Some video of 1939. Dada, this communism has become more lethal because of addition of notions of wokeism, individualism, etc. This is an actually interesting point, because I think communists and leftists have an obsession with sexual freedom, breaking down gender stereotypes, breaking down sexual stereotypes, destroying sexual norms, breaking down gender norms. I think what they do in their ragging is a way to pursue those political goals as well. That, see, this is okay to do. Why are you pretending to be just a normal straight man? Why don't you try these things? And you should try these things, because otherwise you are just being a stooge for the mainstream heteronormative patriarchy. So you must try these things. There was a woman, I forgot her name, a Bengali Muslim girl. She had accused another person from Jadavpur University, I think 4 years ago probably, who was that guy was a famous playwright and a musician. He was a bassist. So that playwright had founded this drama group called MAD. What was the full form of MAD? Mad About Drama. So that girl had made insane allegations, to which the guy basically admitted and deleted all his social media profiles, quit acting, theater jobs, and said that I'm going to go to a counselor, so please don't send me to jail. So that guy had apparently asked his girlfriend to sleep around with different men, and the girl said, "What the fuck? I don't want to." And she is Muslim after all. Maybe she had some extra dedication to her boyfriend than that fucking Hindu Bengali guy. To which the boy said that, no, you have to try this. You have to sleep with other guys, because otherwise you are propagating and you are being a sellout and you are being a stooge of that same heteronormative straight couple patriarchy, which we are trying to destroy. And if you want to destroy that, you have to sleep with men who are not your boyfriend. Your boyfriend will be there, but you also have to try this thing called sexual freedom. And so sexual freedom and gender stereotype breaking, that discourse, I think, has played an important role in this ragging incident as well. Which is why I think someone actually invited me to this procession that they were about to hold in Jadavpur University as well, to which I didn't go because I had some other commitments. But even then, I don't think the right-wingers who are protesting about this to a large extent have anything to gain out of this. Because first of all, they are now saying that we are absolutely against this. All SFI and all the communist parties have come out vociferously against it. The West Bengal government is pursuing this case pretty with strong hands. So it's not like anyone is defending them outright, but they will defend the things that led to these situations. Okay, they will defend them having such strong student unions who won't let police anywhere near the university. They will defend these sexual freedom discourses. They will defend these breaking down gender stereotype ideas. Okay, and maybe they did these things when they were in the university themselves, but now they will condemn it just as grown-up politicians. But even their children who are in the campus will do those same things. So nothing significant is going to happen for right-wingers here. But there's one other thing why I did not want to get into this conversation was that at the end of the day, the people who have come out from this institution and believe in these ideas, but maybe don't believe in this particular ragging incident and are absolutely disgusted with this death specifically, they are at the end of the day not going to pin this on the guy or on the institution or on the ideology or on the parties or on their joining the Insaf procession. They are going to pin this entire thing on toxic masculinity. You know this, right? It's coming. It's coming very soon. You will see the entire discourse about Jadavpur University being hijacked by the feminists who will call this another case of toxic masculinity. A guy, and they will say that, see, this is why masculinity and toxic masculinity needs to be countered, destroyed, because it victimizes men as well. Whereas this has nothing to do with masculinity remotely. तो ये toxic masculinity का कहाँ से example होगा? What has first of all a sociology and economics guy from Jadavpur University has basically no authority to talk about masculinity, or has no standing to be seen as a face of masculinity. That's not happened in Jadavpur University in the last 50 years, okay? Let's leave that bullshit out in the first place. But other than that, a guy randomly asking another guy to go around telling people exactly when did his parents have sex and he was conceived, and doing something that made him scream, "I am not gay," and jump off the balcony. What has this got to do with masculinity? This is just random criminal behavior. This has not got anything to do with gender. This has not got anything to do with men doing bad things. Men do some masculinely toxic masculine bad things against women, where they just show their prowess, physical prowess, or portray their power, their dominance over a woman just because she's a woman and just because he's a man. Those things do happen. That you are a woman and you will do this for me, or I will do this to you. Here, that's not the case. Here, there's no such thing remotely associated with the incident here. But they will bring it to toxic masculinity. They will say that any randomly bad thing that a guy does. So if I beat a dog on the street, that's also toxic masculinity. If I make a guy jump off the balcony, that's also toxic masculinity. If I talk rudely to my parents, that's also toxic masculinity. And the best argument is that the best part of their argument is that any bad thing that a woman does, when a woman behaves rudely with a woman, or when a woman behaves rudely with a man, that's also patriarchy. Do you know this? Have you had a debate with feminists about this? That's their argument. That the patriarchal system is so ingrained, it's so systemic, it's so much in our psyche, it's so much in our hearts and minds, that when men do bad things, it's the fault of patriarchy and men in general. When women do bad things, that's also the fault of men. Okay. Now, live stream questions and answers, and we will get to how to stop these things, and what are some of your experiences with ragging. If you all have faced anything, let us know. And how do you think it can be solved? Okay. Now let me check as many comments as possible. And if you all have sent any important comments and I have missed because so many comments have come by now, consider sending that paid comment thing. What's that called? I forgot. I can't even remember it. Put a comment of that sort and then I can read it. Let me check as many comments as possible. Because knowledge is sacred for Hindus. Yes. Same thing. JU-te 5 বছর আগে হয়েছিল জলে ডুবিয়ে মেরেছিল বলে. Yes. Now, one thing I would like to point out is that ragging or suicides related to ragging don't happen just in Jadavpur University, don't happen just for gender ideology, don't happen just for wokeism, okay? It happens in engineering universities all across the country. Someone has come up with this idea that they have to be criminally treated and someone has to behave criminally for them to go through this rite of passage. This is insane bullshit. But all other universities, I think, has basically wiped this out from their campuses. Besu was also, I think, famous for these things once upon a time. You don't hear these cases anymore in Besu because they don't have those strong student unions and student politician things in their university, okay? For which they really hate the Lingdo Commission. The Lingdo Commission basically asked all public universities to not give space to any student politicians and student politics. So what Besu was able to do can't be done by Jadavpur University, because the vice chancellor will be get out for 50 days, or I mean 10 days, and if you stop the kids from doing those things, they will say fascism. And if a law comes into place where it's said that you can't get out your VC for 10 days, they will say, see, this is exactly what we are trying to prevent. This is fascism, and we were supposed to have these powers. Now we don't. Okay. আজকে পলিটিক্যাল র্যালি করছিল কুকুরগুলো ইয়েস ইয়েস রোহান ঠিক ইন্ডিয়া ডাজ নট লিগালি রেকগনাইজ সেক্সুয়াল অফেন্স এগেনস্ট মেন অ্যাজ আ ক্রাইম it is a taboo for men to talk about it. Okay, this guy was not even 18 years old, so the perpetrators are really screwed, because this is going to be tried as a crime against a child, a minor. Now they are really screwed. Taslima Nasrin, you mean? Why do we need ads even on a live video? Crony capitalism. I need ads on a live stream because I need some revenue. Smart people. क्या क्या गंध भरा है इन वामपंथियों के माथे में? Yes, every day with every news I feel Owlman was right. This is what happens when freedom is seen as the greatest morality. Yes, duty has to be seen as the greatest morality. Sukhasya moolam dharma. It's already happening. So Jay will be next woke USA. Yeah, it's already woke USA. Half of wokeism in USA was sent by JU only. Okay, see, yesterday or day before yesterday, Vivek debated a Trump supporter. Okay, and they asked that what's your view on legal immigration, because you are saying that you are going to allow many merit-based immigrations. Are you saying that white people are going to go out of job? That sort of argument. So Vivek said that no, I'm going to destroy the H-1B visa system, and their families etc. are not going to be able to come. And first and foremost, you will have to basically explicitly, overtly say why you are coming to USA and why you think this is a great country, and you have to know some great things about the country. You have to know about the First Amendment, Second Amendment, etc. Most people, especially most Indians, especially most Bengalis, especially most Bengali communists who go to USA, have no fucking clue what's a free speech, what's the freedom to own firearms, and they go to USA and they think USA is magically a better country. Everything is magic. Either it's magic, or because white people are just better than us. What's their argument then? They will say that freedom of speech is equal to hate speech. Free speech enables fascists and Nazis, which is why they don't really want free speech here as well. They don't want free speech inside the Jadavpur University campuses. When they go to USA, they argue against free speech, but they go to USA and then they speak out against gun rights as well. Then what the fuck made you go to that country? How did it get better? What magic happened in USA that did not happen elsewhere? So that's what Vivek Ramaswamy is going to stop. But Vivek must know this, that his country filled his country up, the politicians in his country filled their country up with communists from Tamil Nadu, Kerala, and from West Bengal. If they had filled up their country with people who were Nazi sympathizers, or did Nazi party as a student, or wrote countless Nazi manifestos and journals and articles, would they be allowed in the country? No. But former communists, people who have been part of DYFI, SFI, CPIM, these fuckers are allowed in USA, allowed to thrive and flourish in USA with no repercussions, with no caveats, because they are dumbasses who don't know that these people have these backgrounds. I think Trump was the first one who said that anyone from any country who has had any pro-communism bullshit in their social media, I won't let them inside the country. How is that a brand new idea? How is that not an obvious thing to do? I hope Vivek does that. Prevent communists from getting into your country, because even now the general consensus is that communism is not really as bad as Nazism. That's the core thesis that they won't come out of, or they can't come out of. That is why these things are happening. That either communism is not at all bad, or communism is not really as bad as Nazism. And how have these ideas become mainstream? Because Hitler lost the war. That's the only reason. Okay. And communists use that as an excuse to write communist literature and academic papers for all these years, since the 40s and 50s, okay? But if we go back in the 40s, based on what we know now, we should understand that Nazism was just another political idea that people were exploring. As an Indian, especially for people who were not in the live stream in the last day, day before yesterday when we were discussing Brahma Puran, we discussed some Bengali Nazis, okay? We came across some Bengali Nazis like Amit, some Krishna, what Krishna? Ashit Krishna Bando Mukherjee, Binayak Dotto. They were at least two Bengalis, and of course they had other contacts as well. These people believed in the Aryan invasion theory to such an extent that they decided, since we are proud Hindus, we are proud Aryans, therefore Nazism is our politics. So Aryan invasion theory did backfire on commies in a particular time frame. Okay, so these guys decided that we have three options in front of us to counter the British. All three of us want the British to go. Leninists are saying the British are bad and India needs to be left alone because they are doing capitalism. Sri Aurobindo's line of revolutionaries are saying that we want British to go away because this is a Hindu country and we are going to reawaken our Hindu ethos and run this country with full-on Hindu ethos. Okay, and it's basically the 1900s, 1920s was a great time for Hindu awakening. That's when this history and Indian philosophy, history of Dharma Shastras was written. The songs like Mahalaya songs for Durga Puja like Ya Chandi were composed and written in those days only. And there's the third part of revolutionaries or people who wanted the British to go away, like Savitri Mukherjee, who was a French woman who married this Ashit Krishna Mukherjee and became a Hindu and took on the Bengali Brahmin surname. They were all Nazis. They were all believers in Aryan invasion theory. They were all staunch vegetarians. Savitri Mukherjee's book called a warning to Hindus was the foreword for that book was written by G.D. Savarkar, who was the elder brother of Veer Savarkar. These people were all Nazis and decided that Nazism is also a great counter to British imperialism. And Ashit Krishna Mukherjee was the person who basically made Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose meet with the Japanese government because he had contacts with both of them. Okay, he knew Subhash Bose and he knew the Japanese army. Now my hunch is, I suspect that since he was a Nazi sympathizer, since he wrote Nazi articles when he was doing his PhD in University of London in history, he was taught Aryan invasion theory so much that he decided, okay, then I'm a proud Aryan now, bro. How can you stop me? So that really backfired with him. So Ashit Krishna Mukherjee writes Nazi articles living in Calcutta and living in England. So I think he was in direct contact with Hitler as well, and I think he is the one who made Subhash Chandra Bose meet Hitler as well. Okay, so my point for saying this is that the fact that Nazism is insanely worse than communism is a brand new idea. That was not the idea in the 40s, okay? But now we have come to understand that no, only Hitler was bad. Communism is not bad at all, or way less bad than Hitler, and that is the problem. That is why communists from Jadavpur University, from Presidency University, from JNU are allowed to go in USA and live there willy-nilly. So many of them who hate USA, capitalism, freedom of speech, gun rights, with every fiber of their being. They hate USA with all their guts, but they will go to USA to study, to get married, for vacationing, for job, to fuck, to get laid, for everything. They want USA. Okay, and that needs to stop. So yes, so not only is American wokeism coming to JU has sent wokeism to USA forever. You look at their wokeism discourse, you look at their racism discourse, all that seems identical to our caste discourse. It's not like we learned our caste discourse from them. They did not have these mad discourses. They got it from Indians 100%. They got it from Bengalis, I would argue. And there are more arguments, more examples. In 2016, when I started following American politics, I used to tell my mom that, Mom, you won't believe this. They have their elections and there's no election violence. They pursue their election campaign, their entire election with no violence. No one gets beaten up. No one gets killed. How is this happening? Maybe they are really a first world country, and that changes within 3 to 4 years with wokeism and the later influx, and even the extra more influx of SFI people from JU presidency, JNU, that went to USA in the last 10 years. In 4 to 5 years, the country changed entirely, which hadn't changed until 2016. All of those Indian, Bengali wokeism ideas, wokeism ways of doing politics, gheraos. Okay, Douglas Murray writes about this, and he calls the gherao term barricading, because he has never heard of this. All those gherao stuff start happening in all liberal arts universities in USA. Professors are being barricaded for 24 hours, 48 hours. Where did they get these ideas? They were not doing these for the last 50 years. All that has come directly from Bengal, Kolkata, and at best JNU to some extent. So they really need to be kicked out from the country, or need to be prevented from getting in further. Last time Bengal was great. It was part of Bihar. Yes, Bihar. Once first Bengal partition was undone, it all went to hell. Remerge with Bengal. With Bihar, yes, then we are. Yeah, whoever says this will be done in Bengal. Dada, do you know of any great author who refuted the theory that one should have the freedom to do anything unless it stops others' freedom? Or can you refute this? It would be helpful. See, the basic notion of freedom in USA. Since there are a lot of great libertarian arguments in USA, right? In their political discourse, the idea there is what you are asking for. Their idea is that the government should not go doing everything. The government should not give you free stuff. The government should not take away your kids just because you didn't affirm their gender. The government's job is doing 3 things: protect life, liberty, and property. Okay? This is called negative rights versus positive rights. Positive rights means I have the right to someone else's something, someone else's property or services. Negative rights means I have the right to not have something done to me. So that's exactly what you are asking for. And let's see if there is something here. I was reading something related to this here. Let me just check. I read something great about freedom here. Let me see if I can find it. Wait a bit. This is a fantastic book I'm reading. Western societies, people endorse freedom. Yeah, let's see what he says about freedom. Okay. Truer description of first screen. No, there's no point explaining this because a lot of background will be required. So any conservative or free market author that you can think of has spoken of freedom this way. And Thomas Sowell, Sir Roger Scruton, everyone. And that freedom is great only up till the point that you don't do something to someone else. But even more than freedom, I think the priority should be duty. Duty, which leads to rights and freedoms. Freedom is not your God-given right. Freedom is earned through duty. Freedom is your God-given right in context of British, because they are outsiders, you are here. But freedom in your society has to be earned. Will you read Jadavpur book in live stream? I'll have to think about it. Pakistan was part of Bharat, not the other way around. Bihar was great in Magadh times. Let's reject humanity and return to monkey. Legal freedom should be there, but society should set some moral boundaries. Yes. Moral boundaries, yes. And moral boundaries can't come without religion, unfortunately, because morals, ethics are based on some ancient idea or the other. You can't create a morality randomly one fine morning. These moral sciences classes in schools that go on, what are they based on? There are counter arguments for all those morals. Someone else can say that, no, that's not my moral. Morals have to be grounded in the local culture, otherwise it won't be accepted. Imagine a hypothetical situation. It's not really a hypothetical situation. I was talking about this with a relative of mine. So they live in a small alley in South Kolkata. It used to be those Bengal refugee colonies where people from Bangladesh settled here in the late 40s and early 50s. So they have been doing a Saraswati Puja in that alley for about since the 1950s almost. And now 2 flats have come up, apartment buildings in that alley. Only 2. All the other families are still descendants of people who came here in the 50s. Now, the people in those flats who have come just 1 year ago have a problem with this Saraswati Puja, which has been going on since 1955. Why? Because of the loud music that's played up until 11 in the night, 12 in the night. And until the people living in the flats came, no one had a problem with it, because everyone else thought, yeah, it's just a 2-3 days celebration. It's after all for Goddess Saraswati. Why not let them have this fun? It's our celebration. We are having fun listening to those songs as well. Now, whose morality is in question here? Whose morality is being harmed here? Whose freedom is being trampled upon here? Because the people in the flats, okay, can easily argue that yes, you have your freedom to celebrate your Saraswati Puja, but not at the cost of my sleep. How are you going to argue this particular case with just libertarian principles? It's not going to happen. So morality has to be grounded in local culture and customs. And if you're an outsider, which is why I said that what Swami Vivekananda said about acceptance being a higher goal than tolerance is kind of meaningless. Now the people in that alley can't just be accepting of those flat people, apartment people, and say that, okay, screw our Saraswati Puja. We will do it one day up until the evening and end this 50-year custom. No, that should not happen. They should put those people living in those flats should put an extra effort to assimilation. They should learn the customs of this new place, this new geography that they are occupying, and it's their duty to prove that they have the freedom or the right to claim that those 3 nights of celebrations are causing a problem. They have to earn it. It can't happen willy-nilly. Of course, legally it's a different matter because our laws are based on a bullshit idea of secularism. But in the hearts, will this be accepted? Or will it just create an excuse for the police to get bribed? Because if the entire alley is for the Saraswati Puja and only one family in the flat is against the Saraswati Puja, when they are going to bring in the police is not going to fight with the entire alley. That's not how police work happens in India. Okay, the police is not going to come and say that, okay, this is illegal, bro, and I'm going to arrest all the families of the alley who are defending the Saraswati Puja, throw them in jail, and defend just this one family living in this flat. That's not going to happen. So the police is going to get bribed, unless the person living in the flat is a gigantic politician or some high central government officer of some sort. So in that case, that politician will have to bring in his contacts. So in both ways, we are creating incentives for even more illegality, right? Even more illegal behavior, even more immoral bribery behavior. Okay, contacts wala kaam hoga. So what was better than that? Better than that is just make the laws according to the local customs. कि यहाँ पे ये लॉ है क्योंकि यहाँ के लोग ये चाहते हैं, ये 3 दिन का सरस्वती पूजा होगा ही होगा. तुम आए हो 1 साल पहले, अब भोसरी के भुगतो, नहीं तो जाओ. तुम जहाँ पे रहते थे, जहाँ पे 3 दिन का सरस्वती पूजा का प्रॉब्लम नहीं फेस करना पड़ता था, वहाँ पे अगर इतना अच्छा जिंदगी कट रहा था तुम्हारा, तो आए थे क्यों? जाओ ना वहाँ. यहाँ आए हो, कुछ एक्स्ट्रा बेनिफिट्स मिल रहा है इसलिए तो आए हो ना. तो वो एक्स्ट्रा बेनिफिट्स के लिए ये 3 दिन तुमको भुगतना होगा, क्योंकि ये 1955 का कस्टम है जो यहाँ पे चल रहा है. और ये कौन लोग चला रहा है उसका दैट हिस्टोरिकल कॉन्टेक्स्ट इज इवन मोर सिग्निफिकेंट. Hindus, Bengali Hindus who were kicked out of a country, who were kicked out of their homes for just being fucking Hindus, they have come here and started celebrating the goddess of knowledge and education, because they realized that's the only way they are going to get out of this shithole situation. And you have come up just 1 year prior to this, and you are saying to those Bengali Hindus that you are not going to worship your goddess of knowledge. That's insane. That cannot be justified with any legality. So morals have to be based in religious customs. Okay. हम साले CIA का है. कैसे पता है? Kushal Mehra and AIM sometimes say things while being high on weed. Honestly, that AIM's defense analysis regarding Indian Navy was crap, but his geopolitics analysis was good. Follow the noise pollution rules. What do you think about IPC reform? Yeah, it's urgently required. Noise pollution rules, the problem is that the noise pollution rules are not being followed for mosques, right? So why should only the Hindus only in this one alley follow noise pollution rules, and that too just for 3 days? Saraswati Puja is not going to go on for 7 days. Saraswati Puja is not going to go on for countless times in the year. It's just once in a year for 3 days. And there's another great dialogue in sacred games, right? When Nawazuddin Siddiqui was complaining about the Ganpati Visarjan noises being created, his wife said that ये लोग अमीन नहीं है कि ये लोग बार बार रोज रोज वीकेंड में डिस्को जाएंगे, तो 4 दिन के लिए ये लोग पूरा शहर को डिस्को बना लेते हैं. How do you argue against that? My comment, Sahil, what has Sahil said? Let's see. Okay, Nina is saying all rights in constitution should be scrapped and be replaced with duties. If someone fails to uphold his duty, he is punished according to his wealth and stature. I don't even think they need to be punished because that's also a positivist action. I think just their freedoms and rights will decrease in number. Okay, that's enough. You have these many duties, you get these many rights and freedoms, which we have already, but illegally. If you're a big politician, it means that you have contributed to society by leading many people. So you get more contacts, or people who are big scientists or professors, they also have contacts by knowing you, and then they get to do things illegally. कि वो ticket करवा दो थोड़ा, वहाँ पे मेरे बच्चे का admission करवा दो थोड़ा. I'm saying do all these things, do it legally. You are ashamed to admit that people who contribute extra have extra rights. मगर तुम तो मैं बोल रहा हूँ कि वो admit करो और legally करो, क्योंकि जब legally नहीं कर रहे हो तो जिनका डिजर्विंग क्वालिटी है कुछ पाने का, मगर वो कॉन्टेक्ट्स नहीं है, उसको फालतू में मार पड़ रहा है. Let's see what Sahil said. Yeah, Sahil, how long back, Sahil? No, Sahil, comment it once again, okay? You just scroll up and find your comment and reply and comment once more. Let me check some other comments. Here to Learn is saying, fortunately, even after being an engineering student from a leftist college, private though, I have never felt these stuff. Seniors do Nesha, but I wasn't forced, and nor was I. Okay, that is pretty surprising. I thought that private engineering colleges are also a bastion for ragging. Interesting. Owen Bhumik is saying, what do you think about the center now will not give the Institute of Eminence status to Jadavpur? Will these issues get solved if Jadavpur becomes a central university? Their Institute of Eminence status was not given anyway. Before that, right? And if it's not given, first of all, the commie students will say that ये तो RSS की चाल है. Modi hates Jadavpur University, that's why it's not given. So it's going to create even more problems. That they will say that see, we were trying to save our institution from fascism, and now the fascists are saying that we are not an eminent institution. So who is more important here? We need to stay. We as student unions need to exist so that we are protected from these fascists. And as for your question of will it get solved just because it becomes a central university? I don't know how much the government, central government, wants to take these things with strong steps. Besu was set right by Ajoy Roy, right? That if JNU can be handled, any university can be handled. Interesting point. JNU has been kind of handled, hasn't it? Let's see. Hope for the best. I know many people personally who hate Kolkata's Bong people to the core because of their corrupted mindset. I'm glad that I was born in rural Bengal and not in Kolkata, yes. Did you see the news that in IIT Bombay, some students were celebrating that only veg canteen had been ceded in their demands to have non-veg food? Yeah. I did not see the news, but it's of course not surprising. IIT Bombay has become a bastion for social sciences. Some Ambedkarites were enjoying the decision, yes. Dada, do you know of any great author? Okay, ho gaya. They were fighting against Brahmanical vegetarian patriarchy, though it was mostly used by Jain students. Oh. JU was woke before wokeism wasn't even a thing. Amen. Yes, exactly. Nazi party was National Socialist Democratic Party, lol. Yes. And one senior viewer of mine who has been viewing my channel since I had about 30 subscribers, he had put a counter argument that no, I'm wrong about Hitler not being Christian. Okay, no, actually he was not really Christian. Marxist academics later thrust Christianity on Hitler because they wanted to criticize Christianity and religion as a whole. Okay, but the Catholic Church was in support of Hitler because they thought this guy is our ally in hating Jews. But when Hitler started hating Christianity or taking away Christian symbols from all institutions because Jesus Christ himself was a Jew, that's when even the Catholic Church turned against Hitler. Hitler did not like Christianity. Hitler did not like Jews at all. And he basically liked some sorts of Aryan Russian paganism. He had interest in Buddhism, occultism. Okay, he basically had no significant religious beliefs. He was basically a socialist. He was absolutely against gun rights. He called his party Socialist Party. Why? He wanted to hijack the socialist movement. No. He liked socialism. He was a leftist to the core. Honestly speaking, as long as okay, now one might argue that if he was a leftist, why would he hate Jews as a race? Because he was looking at the Jews as the oppressor class, oppressors against the proletariat. That's why. Just like a communist today hates Hitler. I mean, a communist of Bengal hates Biharis, Marwaris. Why? Because they are rich and because they are apparently keeping Bengalis poor. Okay, that's the same argument. But it's all happening based on competence, right? Jews were successful because of their competence. Marwaris are successful. Jains are successful in Kolkata and in West Bengal because of their competence. But it's the communists who say that I am just arguing against capitalism, but mysteriously my hatred of capitalism is addressed to one particular community who is great at capitalism. So in the end, maybe as a direct attempt or maybe as a side effect, what they end up doing is hating Marwaris, just like Hitler ended up hating Jews. So that's the socialism aspect of Hitler. 27 watching away. Yes, highest so far. Non-Kolkata people need to take Bengal politics in their own heads. Speaking as long as Kolkata exists, West Bengal will always be doomed. This is exactly why Kolkata must fall. Yeah, I think a great idea would be if... I think it's doable. If someday BJP comes to power, they need to shift the capital. That would be a great fucking thing. They need to shift the capital to Siliguri. And it would be really significant as well, security-wise, because that's the chicken neck. More police, more infrastructure and more significant political force all in the north of West Bengal. That would be a great thing. Okay. That's what I'm saying. Kill Kolkata, resurge old glorious Bengal with either Navadip Krishnanagar as capital. Navadip Krishnanagar can't really be made capital because it's now basically a Mofussil village town. You can't make a Mofussil village town magically an urban society all of a sudden. So Siliguri and North Bengal is pretty urbanized. At least Siliguri is. So Siliguri would be a better option for making it a capital. Okay, let's see. Most important thing I want is the development of other districts of Bengal. It'll if it somehow happens in near future, then I will see how Kolkata stays relevant. Yeah. Okay. Remerge Bengal. Yeah, it's the same thing. Legal freedom should be there, but society should set some moral boundaries. Yes. Pakistan was part of Bharat. Kushal Mehra argues that rights-based societies are better to be part of than duty-based society. Is it really? But then the problem is that see, if both are done to an extreme, it's a problem, right? If there are if you can ask for unlimited right to this, like the Congress did just before going out of power, that right to ye, sab kuch right de diya. Like Shekhar Gupta was making a joke on Sonia Gandhi saying that the only thing she left ek hi cheez nahi karne ko baki rakha ke right of the Indian cricket team to not lose a match against Pakistan, or right of a cricket team to not face rains in the stadium. Baki sab kuch right ghoshna kar diya. So we are living in a situation where there's there's the extremist view of rights. Basically, everything is a right. Everything is a fundamental human right, like Bernie Sanders says. Now, Kushal Mehra what Kushal Mehra's argument is probably that if a society is based just on duties, then it's also a pretty oppressive society. Anyone can randomly conjure up anything that ये तुम्हारा duty है अब जाके करो बस ठीक है, then it's also a problem. So I wouldn't say Kushal Mehta is completely wrong, but both these ideas, if taken to their extremes, is a big problem. It can't be a just right-based society, and it can't be a just duties-based society. But can there be an argument that the worst case scenario of right-based society is still objectively a little better than duties-based society? Is that the case? What do you think? Because what people might jump to the conclusion is that after all, in a right-based society, you are just getting some facilities, but and if an extreme situation of that happens, it's fair enough, because after all you are on the way to get some more rights. But whereas in an extreme case of duty-based societies, you have so much duties that you can't even live a life normally or with any amount of happiness or satisfaction. But that is not really the case. With an extreme case of right-based societies, there is so much leakage and spillage of economics. So many people work for so many hours for absolutely no gain that's also oppressive. Now, is that as oppressive as a extreme duty-based society? We will never know. What do you think is absolutely stupid to remerge POK? Yep, morality is one of the most contentious things that atheists talk about. Yes. Did you think it is absolutely stupid to remerge POK? I don't know. POK has to be treated as a special case. All the fundamental rights, freedoms, liberties that we have in India, in the mainland India today, cannot be given willy-nilly to POK, not before at least 50 to 60 years. They have to prove that they are also not just some pattharbazes. For that, they will have lesser rights, lesser freedoms, but they will have better facilities. Of course, we will have development in those places. We will build up hotels, factories. कितना beautiful जगह है, tourism होगा ठीक से, वहाँ पे tourism करके होटल वोटल चलाओ, पैसा कमाओ, ठीक है. मगर हर जो rights and liberties है, freedoms है, as an Indian, those cannot be granted to people of POK. If that is the case, then POK can be, of course, brought back. But if POK is brought back just another state in the country, then absolutely no. Okay. General category Hindutva RSS Sangi who? I was asking whether you are from Punjab or not. Okay. Kushal Mehra say thing high on weed. Okay. Joydeep Kundu, some of the power. Okay, let me just check some other comment. Okay. I need to zoom this comment section. I'm reading too slow. But Hakenkreuz is a Christian symbol, right? I think you are wrong on Hitler. Hakenkreuz, swastika, those kinds of symbols were there everywhere in every primitive society and culture. Okay, check this out. This is not a specifically Christian thing. Wait, let me show you this. That's basically a motif, similar to which there are symbols everywhere. Check this out. There are so many variations of this symbol in every society. Okay. Jain, Greek, Jewish, right? Jewish may be hai, so it's not specifically a Christian symbol. Ceylon, so Sri Lanka, China, Japan, Islamic, Tibet, Malta, Christian mein ye hai. Hopi, Lapland, Aztec, Jain, Greek. Okay. It's a pretty ancient symbol because it's at the very zoomed out low resolution level. It basically implies a man, right? 2 hands and 2 legs. After all, उसमें और philosophization होके symbols different हो गए. See, even Celts have it. Celts are basically druids who were probably the Druhu tribe kicked out from India. Okay, so anyway, let me go on with the comments. So why was Hitler against communism? Because communists were not letting him run. Wait, is my internet gone? So Hitler was against communism because communists were preventing him from running Germany the way he wanted, and they were preventing him from getting back the Akhand Germany. The communists who argue that Hitler would have annexed India if Netaji came to power, that's absolute bullshit. Hitler never had any intention of annexing the entire world. He just wanted the Akhand Germany, the land belonging to the Germanic people, back in his own country. Power, bro, and race with geopolitics. Yeah. Do you think it is absolutely stupid to remerge? POK, Joydeep Kundu is saying some of the power needs to be transferred to places like Chandannagar, Durgapur, and Siliguri from Kolkata if BJP comes to power. It has become the castle of Bastille. Okay, Joydeep, it's a good idea in theory. How do you think it can be done? I'm not criticizing you at all. Okay, I'm really wondering because I agree with you how that it should be done, but how would it be done technically in terms of law? What steps would be taken in terms of policy that some power would be distributed among the other districts? I don't know exactly, or maybe I have not given it much thought, but it's a great idea. The thing is that if BJP comes back in 2024, then only there is a chance in 2026. Yeah, of course. Is everything okay, brother? I don't know. Remembering a stranger comment section of an obscure YouTube channel. Convert ho ja in POK. Okay, what's your opinion of you guys regarding BJP's chances in Bengal 2024? 12, 13 seats maybe, or 15 at max. I gave you a relevant book reading Hindutvadi channel, not some stupid channel. Dekh liya, I get it. Okay. Have you heard about anti-love jihad part in penal code improvisement? They did it without naming it. Yes. And false pretense of identities. Now, I have a problem with most laws if only they create room for misusement. Like our laws against men in terms of sexual crimes. But I don't think that can really be misused, right? I don't think there's any situation where a woman would accuse a man of saying that, no, he pretended to be someone else and married me. Can that be misused? If not, then I'm fine with it. Then that will actually prevent the love jihad cases, because what we need to do is not prevent actual Hindu-Muslim couples who are really in love from not getting harassed by love jihad laws. And this law does that perfectly. This law specifically mentions that if you hid your identity as a Muslim to marry someone, then you are screwed. So I think that this works perfectly, but I would have to think more whether this creates some incentive to misuse the law. 50-50 seat share hoga. These laws are not gender neutral. Yes. Abhay Agarwal kuch mat bol. TMC 35 just got admitted to JU for engineering. Nice. Thought of faulting a bit, and now this case of ragging is bringing so much shame to the institution. Nice. Congratulations. Yeah, JU is great. And did you get into JU Mechanical? JU Mechanical is I have heard one of the best in the country. So education wise to great hoga, and if you live in the campus, then you are screwed, of course. Or maybe for now, for some months, nothing significant will happen. But my question is that how is it going to be prevented in future even further? What are they going to do? Laws can't help this. It's not like there is a law that says that it's okay, go rag. No problem. The laws are obviously strictly against ragging. So if there are things that laws can't solve, how is that going to be solved then? How do you prove deception? Can you succinctly describe the Indian economic model, whether it's socialist, capitalist, or a hybrid chutiapa? It's developmental economics, as propagated by Abhijit Banerjee, Amartya Sen. That's the kind of economics we have. It can't be directly called socialist, but it's of course left of center. Even I think so. Let's hope BJP at least gets 12 seats. That's not very difficult if BJP actually sacrifices federal structure to ensure law and order in Bengal. And that's not something Narendra Modi will do. He won't sacrifice federal structure. He has done some things that has actually strengthened the respect in some institutions to some extent. Of course, leftists won't believe it now, and so it doesn't really make a difference if only we believe he has strengthened institutions and leftists don't. But maybe in the long run for the country, it's great, because CJI Chandrachud gave so many weird comments and decisions one after the other, but now he is doing the best fighting against Kapil Sibal, against Kapil Sibal's random arguments in case of 370. So which shows that the institution is still strong, but it's the way judges are hired still needs to be changed, of course. And I was saying this to a friend that when J.Sai Deepak was kind of scolded a little bit by CJ Chandrachud, when J.Sai Deepak was explaining something, and CJ said that okay, we know these things, you don't need to explain to us. And J.Sai Deepak immediately apologized, immediately, with a big smile. That showed that, okay, even if CGI is wrong here, even if J.Sai Deepak is right here, even if I'm a J.Sai Deepak fanboy, even then, this power dynamic needs to remain. Otherwise, we become Pakistan. This power dynamic cannot go away, that the judge really has the power to tell a lawyer, no matter how big of a celebrity he is in social media, that you don't need to teach us, we know it. That's still a great thing. But unfortunately, they are not having that same kind of tone against Kapil Sibal. I guess they have always hung around in similar circles, in the same farmhouses. Kapil Sibal is repeatedly interrupting rudely, countering rudely, and not once have I seen so far that they have said that, what's your tone, or you don't need to teach us. They are treating Kapil Sibal with kid gloves. They are absolutely giving an extra privilege to Kapil Sibal. But we can hope for the best, and we hope that these institutions remain like these. So in context of Modi not fiddling with or meddling with the federal structure, that's also a great thing at the end of the day, because that's also a great libertarian view to have, that if you have a problem in Bengal, vote for someone who's not Trinamool. Otherwise, the center doing it would be a band-aid law. What I'm saying is pretty dark. I'm saying let people suffer, let them fight. Let these violences go on to the extent that people are fed up, and then vote for someone else. Because if Modi out of the blue bypasses the federal structure and meddles in the law and order, first of all, it's going to be kicked out. That policy is going to be kicked out by Chandrachud, and the next day there's going to be a genocide of BJP workers. But other than that, the problem is that will also create a precedence which will be misused by, let's say, when Shubhendu Adhikari is the chief minister and Mamata Banerjee is maybe the prime minister. That's not going to happen, obviously. Rahul Gandhi is the prime minister, and then that Congress central government is going to use that precedence repeatedly for going against Bengal, right? So let's not create precedences. Let's just wait it out and let people change. Let people show up at the voting booth and express their opinion in the voting booth, and do it at a risk. Otherwise, it's not going to change really. Otherwise, it's just going to be a band-aid. Okay, let me check some more comments. Indian economic model is majority left-leaning, yes. Why BJP calls itself Gandhian socialist? Life is messed up. Because they are Gandhian socialist. Even their policies today, you can see they are pretty socialist. No, what they are saying is that no, you don't know how to do Gandhian socialism. I know how to do Gandhian socialism. So I'm doing it best. It will change only in the next generation. Maybe if some free market voices come into the forefront, free market having a free market idea becomes more mainstream, and it's becoming mainstream pretty shockingly fast. Okay, I mean, when just at least 3 years back, no one used to talk about freebies being bad. Sanjay Dixit made freebies being bad mainstream in just 1 year, in just 2 years. He's the first person, I think, in the mainstream right-wing politics scenario who started saying that ye revdi culture hai, ye freebie culture hai, ye kitna kharab hai. I had never dreamed expected in my wildest dreams that's going to happen. I thought right-wingers forever will keep demanding freebies. Now it's a mainstream view almost, at least among the urban youth, or even the suburban youth, or at least the English-speaking youth of the country, that freebies are really bad. And it's going to become more mainstream because Sanjay Dixit does his videos in Hindi. Ajit Bharti is against freebies. So it's insane how fast we have suddenly grasped the idea that freebies are bad, capitalism is great. Then there's Vijay Sardana, speaks in Hindi, says freebies are bad, capitalism is great. So the next generation of BJP, I think I have lots of hopes for. And when one day Yogi Adityanath or K. Annamalai becomes the prime minister, by then, even if they are socialists at their heart, at their core, they won't be as socialists in policy, because by then, hopefully, the mass will have become, the critical mass of our population will have become more against freebies and pro-market solutions. But of course, this is not a serious concern because it's not never going to happen anyway. But still, it needs to be remembered that capitalism is not for sacred things. Sacred things are sacred. Sacred things are outside the capitalist fold. Sacred things are Devbhumi. हिमाचल प्रदेश उत्तराखंड में कैपिटलिज्म नहीं चाहिए, वहाँ पे कैपिटलिज्म नहीं करना चाहिए. कैपिटलिज्म इज फॉर द प्लेन्स, फॉर सिटीज एंड विलेजेस वेयर इट कैन टेक इट in terms of environment. The hills, first of all, can't take it environmentally. Second of all, actually, first of all, it's the home of Lord Shiva. Okay, he resides there. It's he loves those mountains. He lives those mountains. Those mountains are his weapons, and that cannot be exploited just for financial gain or prosperity. Now that means that people living there will they be poorer? Yes, they will be poorer. If they have a problem with being poorer, come down to the cities and work. No one's stopping you. But if you are really a Shiva devotee and you want to serve Shiva, be poorer. And you have to be happy with that. And I think people who are actually devotees of Shiva will probably be okay with that. And if a magical situation arises that no devotees are left in Himachal Pradesh because capitalism or any development was not done there, और बिकॉज वो रील बनाने वाले नहीं गए, जाना बंद कर दिए हिमाचल में, और इसलिए सब हिमाचल के पुजारी भी प्लेन्स में आ गए, देन इवन ग्रेट, let Lord Shiva live there happily in peace. He doesn't give a shit about getting worshipped. He doesn't need you. He is happy there. So the not doing capitalism in Devbhumi is a win-win situation. Either only the devotees remain there and people who really want to do pilgrimage and not just shoot fucking Instagram reels, only they go there, or everyone leaves and Lord Shiva and the mountains live there happily ever after. My brother's friend studies engineering in JU for last 3 years and he was clear from very start he was never gonna be in hostel and he stays in PG. Let's say if there is a Muslim guy and Hindu girl in a relationship with consent and complete true knowledge of identities, however, after breakup, Hindu girl falsely accuses the Muslim guy. Yeah, man. That's the misuse part. Good point. I don't know. I don't know how to prevent this with the law. I'll have to think more about it. I'm studying computer science. I did 1 week of class and noticed one thing, that is extreme indiscipline on campus. Yes. Because there was, at one point, I think when I had just come out of college and I think then, or when I had already started doing a job, I had countless friends in presidency, and presidency out of the blue had started this idea that you have to have 75% attendance, and you won't believe the kind of protests that happened. It was like as if Yogi Adityanath became the vice chancellor of presidency. ऐसा protest हो गया, पूरा बवाल मच गया कैंपस में, प्रिंसिपल वीसी के ऑफिस में, पूरे कॉलेज स्ट्रीट एरिया में जहाँ पे प्रेसिडेंसी है, जिस जगह के नाम पे मेरा चैनल का नाम है कॉलेज स्ट्रीट कोलकाता. इन लोगों का वक्तव्य ये था कि 75% अटेंडेंस हम नहीं करेंगे भोसड़ी के, नहीं जाएंगे यूनिवर्सिटी, लाइक कागज नहीं दिखाएंगे. एंड व्हाट्स द डिफेंस इन दिस कॉन्टेक्स्ट? देयर डिफेंस इज दैट यू टीच सो बैड, your teaching skills are so bad that I don't even feel the interest or need to go to the classes. So why force me to come to class when you should be improving your teaching skills? So that's not really a bad argument, because there are really significantly bad teachers, especially in the masters and PhD level, because in up until school level में क्या होता है, स्कूल लेवल में एक्सट्रीमली बैड टीचर्स बहुत कम होते हैं, क्योंकि कैसे आप पढ़ाते हैं उसका भी एक टेस्ट लिया जाता है स्कूल के प्रिंसिपल के साथ, या फिर और सीनियर टीचर्स लोग ये चेक करते हैं. मास्टर्स में पीएचडी लेवल में क्या होता है, आपके सिर्फ आपके एजुकेशनल क्वालिफिकेशंस के तौर पे बेसिस पे आपको प्रोफेसर बना दिया जाता है. एंड देयर इफ यू आर जस्ट गुड एट स्टडिंग एंड नॉट टीचिंग एट ऑल, then that becomes a huge problem, because people with absolutely no communication skills and no comprehension skills become professors, and they read out random what fucking paper they wrote the night before, and you say this was that, this cup had coffee, this synthesizer had a towel, so go to class, go to home guys, class is over. ऐसे पढ़ाओगे तो attendance is really a torture to sit in. But you see, the balls that these students have is not something that people elsewhere in other universities or other parts of the country can imagine. So you could count this as indiscipline on campus as well. Abhay bro, that's the risk the guy has to bear. Same as the risk behind premarital sex. Yes. Also, can Muslim girls not hide their identity to deceive Hindu men? Does this law apply WRT castes too? It does not mention only religious identity. Yeah, it says that any identity that you are hiding, let's say you said you are a big musician and फिर पता चला कि you are an engineer. Okay, उसमें तो लोग लड़की को शायद और भी मजा आएगा. But maybe you're not a great musician. You ride a rickshaw somewhere. Then also I think this laws applies to them. Anyone who misuses or misappropriates their identity, who basically lies about their identity, all of them are going to be under the purview of this law, as far as I've understood. Do you believe just like America is the mismatch phenomenon prevalent in कहाँ गया comment? Wait. Do you believe just like America is the mismatch phenomenon prevalent in Bharat institutions because of affirmative action? I have read Thomas Sowell. Is the mismatch phenomenon? Oh, okay. Do you believe just like America is the mismatch phenomenon prevalent in Bharat institutions because of affirmative action? Yes, of course. That's why reservation needs to absolutely disappear. Go cold turkey, tits up, belly up. One fine morning, reservation has to stop, not phase out. And so does anti-conversion law. But BJP needs to understand that if they want to win 2024, they just can't let Bengal go in haywire. There are 42 seats here. Delimitation UP ka kab hoga? After 24. I heard Assam is doing delimitation, right? What does Gandhian part mean in Gandhian socialist? It means that whatever socialist idea Gandhi came up with, that's specifically Gandhian socialist. Like CPIM Marxist, CPIM Leninist. So socialist Gandhian. Also, these laws have codified a horrible concept like rape on the promise of marriage. Oh my god. Yeah, that's stupid. Rape means someone forcing someone themselves on a girl without their consent. How can you say that consent disappeared 6 months later? That's not the definition of marriage, rape at all. Now, if boys break up with a girl after a premarital relationship, they can be accused of rape. Yes, and this is actually there is a side benefit to this law that more people feel the incentive to not get into premarital sex. That's a net gain for society. That's a net positive for society. Question is, does BJP understand anything about Bengal's politics? Shubhendu Adhikari understands, sir. Here to learn composite nationalism and ahimsa. Show Mupan. Bengal is all about violence and freebies. It's just BJP finds it morally wrong. Yeah. And BJP will have to come to power with Muslim support and with freebies. Seeking validation from Bengali communists is the most stupid thing to do so. Yes. What happened at Jadavpur University? Okay, you have to watch the live stream from the beginning. BJP's obsession with Gandhism is the reason. Vaktavya, yes. I had such teachers, yes. Rashteen, hello guys, hello. Okay then, it was a great live stream. We discussed lots of important stuff. So, thank you for joining the live stream. Again, I'll see you probably, hopefully tomorrow. And I need to do a Bengali live stream once again. And if any more questions are coming, otherwise we'll end the live stream now. Okay, this law is vague and has broad scope for terrible misuse against men. In any relationship, there are lies, breakage, break of promises, etc. You cannot define it through laws. Why does a relationship need to be part of the law in the first place? That's what I don't get. That's a great, that's a very significant problem we have. And I think that has happened because marriage has been taken out of the purview of religious custom and looked upon as a secular institution, a secular contract. ये हुआ है ना, उसके वजह से ये सब side effects हो रहा है. Law, marriage is sacred, marriage is religious. So anything that leads up to marriage is also part of your religion and your faith. Now, since you're treating marriage as a secular, random contract institution that two people just live together, have sex, maybe have a kid, and maybe go on their own ways, go on to their different ways when they don't feel like it, when they don't feel like pursuing it any further. तो ये सेक्युलराइजेशन का प्रॉब्लम है कि अरे गर्लफ्रेंड बॉयफ्रेंड कैसे प्यार करेगा, कैसे ब्रेकअप करेगा, ब्रेकअप के बाद झगड़ा का क्या टॉपिक होगा, उस सब कुछ में कोडिफाइंग लॉ है. That's the problem with codifying laws and taking marriage out of the religion purview. Let me see if I can find a great argument here. I had read something beautiful here. I'll tell you. This is about sacred. Just wait, I'm going to read something insane, fascinating to you guys. This book, man, every chapter of this book needs to be treated as a separate book. It should be released as a separate book. It's a pretty big chapter, but listen to it anyway. I'm not naming the book significantly because I might get a copyright because it's from a big publisher. So, meaningful marriage, okay. An institution can be looked at from outside with the eyes of an anthropologist who observes its social function, or it can be looked at from inside with the eyes of a participant, that is the practitioner versus scholarly view of religion or anything, whose life it transforms. And what is observable from one perspective may not be observable from the other. The anthropologist who studies the seasonal war making of a tribe may understand that institution, that वो चलो यूज करते हैं, that institution as a way of securing territory, a way of controlling population, and a way of reaching a renewable equilibrium with neighbors. An anthropologist might think that. But the warrior understands the institution in quite another way. For him, it is a source of brotherhood, a mystical affirmation of identity between himself and the tribe, and a call to his soul from ancestral voices. That's the Kshatriya Dharma. The concepts used by the anthropologist, which is social function, solidarity, ideology, etc., make no contact with the warrior's experience. So what the anthropologist is viewing about the warrior is not what the warrior says about himself or what the warrior views his work as. If he were to make use of these concepts in describing what he feels, he would immediately stop feeling those things. If the Kshatriya started describing his job from the eyes of a Marxist or an anthropologist, he would stop being a Kshatriya. He would stop feeling the need to be a Kshatriya, which is why we have kind of been neutralized and deracinated, because we started applying Marxist arguments to everything. And the concepts that inform the warrior's self-understanding, which is brotherhood, destiny, sacred obligation, Kshatriya Dharma, play no part in the anthropologist's explanation of what the warrior does. This does not mean that the two people are entirely opaque to each other. Maybe by an act of Wertsein, the anthropologist can enter into the experience of the man he studies and imagine what it is like to see the world as he sees it. Maybe the tribesman can stand back sufficiently from his situation to envisage how it might be understood and explained by someone who was outside the fold of membership. Nevertheless, the two assign different and incommensurable values to the institution of seasonal warfare. And criticism offered from one perspective might have no bearing on the values that inform the other. We are setting up an argument based on Kshatriya Dharma kind of things, but we will get to marriage pretty soon. For the anthropologist, the institution is justified by its function. Right? कि वो Kshatriya Dharma क्यों है? युद्ध करना है इसलिए क्षत्रिय चाहिए. But and if it becomes dysfunctional, so if war is not needed, then the need for Kshatriya Dharma, it becomes useless. But for the warrior, the institution is justified by the sacred obligations on which it rests. And only if those obligations are rescinded can it be allowed to decay. If those obligations, if my Kshatriya Dharma, if my religion goes away, if my Brahmin priest says that you don't need to be a Kshatriya anymore, only then my duty ends. Only then I stop being a Kshatriya. Okay. This mismatch between external and internal perspectives has been frequently remarked upon, and not only in the context of anthropology. We encounter it in moral philosophy, in the conflict between consequentialism, which sees ethics as policy directed towards an external goal. And abhi thoda heavy words hai, but we'll get to the meat of the matter in easy language anyway. And the deontological perspective that sees ethics in terms of absolute rights and duties. We encounter it in literature, in the contrast between the author's perspective and the values and motives of his characters. We encounter a version of it too in ourselves, because as sophisticated modern people, we are in the habit of looking on our own values as though they were not ours at all, but the values of some curious stranger who needs to be put in context and viewed from some fastidious height. We are all familiar with that prut-frock feeling which reminds us in the midst of our warmest passions that we are perhaps wrong to presume, wrong to assume. Indeed, it is arguable that the contrast between the two perspectives, कि वो जो practitioner का view है and जो outsider scholar का view है, the contrast between the two perspectives lies in the nature of things. A person is both I and he. The same person is I and I am also a he. Both free subject and determined object. Both rational chooser and a predictable animal. Okay, I have some free will, but I am also a rational chooser. I might go out of my way and choose something else. We can see ourselves in either way, a possibility from which Kant derived his startling vision of our moral and metaphysical predicament, but it is perhaps a distinguishing mark of the modern condition that we are so easily tempted away from the first person viewpoint to that other and more alienated posture. We are always trying to look at everything from an outsider scholar perspective that turns self into other and turns choice into fate. Okay, and ये जो turning choice into fate का चुतियापा है, that is the reason why leftists will not give credits for any achievement to anything, to any person. Okay, they don't believe that free will exists. Any person of achievement you talk about in front of a leftist, they will say उसके बाप ने कुछ अच्छा काम किया होगा, उसका तो privilege था इसलिए ऐसा कर दिया, उसका male privilege था, उसका white privilege था, उसका brahminical privilege था, उसका बाप अमीर था, ये सब कुछ था, उसने खुद कुछ काम नहीं किया है, उसका choice, उसका decision, उसका hard work गया गड्ढे में. This has a bearing, I believe, on the current debates over marriage. Now we come to marriage. Okay, because marriage is one of those institutions that we spontaneously see both from outside in terms of its social function and from inside in terms of the moral and spiritual condition that it creates. No honest anthropologist can fail to acknowledge the functional importance of marriage, although now they do, because this book was written in 2006. Okay, in 2023 they will also say that marriage does not even have a functional importance. In all observed societies, some form of marriage exists as the means whereby the work of one generation is dedicated to the well-being of the next. Marriage does not merely protect and nurture children. It is a shield against sexual jealousy and a unique form of social and economic operation with a mutually supportive division of roles that more than doubles the effectiveness of each partner in their shared bid for security. तो ये सब छोड़ के अगर एक नॉर्मल सेक्युलर कॉन्ट्रैक्ट बन जाएगा मैरिज, तो तब गर्लफ्रेंड बॉयफ्रेंड में ब्रेकअप कैसे हुआ उसमें भी सुप्रीम कोर्ट को कुछ वर्डिक्ट देना पड़ेगा. सीजीआई चंद्रचूड़ डिसाइड करेगा कि ये चपड़ी निभा निभी कैसे ब्रेकअप किया और किसने किसको ज़्यादा दुख दिया. Marriage fulfills this complex function because it is something more than a contract of mutual cooperation and something more than an agreement to live together. Hence, marriage enjoys, or has until recently enjoyed, a distinct social aura. A wedding is a rite of passage, RITE, okay, in which a couple pass from one social condition to another. Okay, they were two randomly separate single things. Now they are a different separate thing in the society. The ceremony is not the concern of the couple only, but the entire community that includes them. Because this is the way that children are made, that is, as new members of the society who will in their turn take on the task of social reproduction. Now, leftists have said that social reproduction itself is bad because population is killing the planet, environment का खराब हो जाएगा, तो reproduction भी bad है, therefore marriage भी bad है. अरे मेरा पेन कहाँ गया? ठीक है, छोड़ो. Society has a profound interest in marriage, and changes to that institution may alter not merely relations among the living, but also the expectations of those unborn. I'll explain this later. But listen to this line. What a great line here, right? Society has a profound interest in marriage, and why उसका explanation बाद में आएगा. But notice how that is even also looked down upon by Marxists and liberals, by Bollywood, modern day liberals. That Society does not have the right to tell me this. Society does not have the right to tell me that. Society does not have the right to ask me about my marriage. Okay, everything is wrong. Any old person you know who is above 50 or 40, they don't have a right to tell you any fucking thing about your life. Okay, तो और उसका रिजल्ट क्या है कि हम तो प्रेगनेंसी हो जाएगा मैरिज के पहले, ब्रेकअप होने के बाद सू करते फिरेंगे, as if anything better or great has come out of society not telling me anything. Okay, society can't tell me when to have kids. Society can't tell women when to have kids. Gandu, unfit, fat as fuck women are saying at 35 years old that society does not have the right to tell me when to have kids. अरे तो society बोल रहा है based on your anatomy and your biology only. And when Gulpana got married, I think at 32 or 40 or something, everyone started saying, see she's so brave. Gulpana is one of the fittest women to ever live in the country. वो 40 में बच्चा पैदा कर सकती है. तुम पूरे दिन बैठ के नेटफ्लिक्स देखते हो और लैपटॉप में काम करते हो. तुम कर पाओगे 40 की उम्र में बच्चे? तो सोसाइटी को बोलना पड़ेगा क्योंकि तुम्हारा तो कुछ फिटनेस का ज्ञान है नहीं. तो एनीवे, society has a profound interest in marriage, and changes to that institution may alter not merely relations among the living, but also the expectations of those unborn, के जो बच्चे आएंगे, and the legacy of those who predeceased them. जो ancestors हैं उनका भी प्रॉब्लम होगा. How we'll get to that now. Wedding guests symbolize the social endorsement of the union that they have assembled to witness, and the marriage is a kind of legitimization of the potentially subversive desire between the partners. वो लेजिटिमाइजेशन हम लेजिटिमाइजेशन किसका कर रहे हैं कि एक दूसरे के साथ सेक्स करने का जो डिज़ायर था उसमें हम एक ठप्पा लगा रहे हैं जिससे इससे कुछ कंस्ट्रक्टिव निकले, नॉट जस्ट अ मियर satisfaction of desires, so that it's something better than that, so that it's something greater than that, so that it's something sacred and holy and pious. Society blesses the union, but only at a price, and the price has been, in traditional Christian societies, a heavy one: sexual fidelity, quote unquote, till death do us part, and a responsibility for the socializing and educating of the children. As people become more and more reluctant to pay that price, so do weddings become more and more provisional, and the distinction between socially endorsed union and the merely private arrangement becomes less and less absolute and less secure. As sociologists are beginning to observe, however, this gain in freedom from one generation, okay, implies a loss in freedom for the next generation. Where's that guy who was talking about freedoms? This is a great argument, right? Sociologists are beginning to observe that ये जो gain in freedom है, that is implying a loss of freedom for the next generation. Why? क्योंकि they are growing up with single mothers, in most cases single fathers if the judge was fair enough. Okay, and we have seen that objectively single motherhood is the greatest predicator for criminal behavior. Single father is a little less than that, but ideally it's always one mother and one father. Okay, implies a loss for the next. So if a child is born in that situation, they obviously have lesser freedoms. Children born within a marriage are far more likely to be socialized, outgoing, and able to form permanent relationships of their own than children born out of wedlock, because their parents have made a commitment in which the children are included and of which society approves. This fact is part of the deep phenomenology of the marital home. Children of married parents find a place in society already prepared for them. कि तुम उसके बेटे हो, कितना बढ़िया बात है. Furnished by a regime of parental sacrifice and protected by social norms. Take away marriage and you expose children to the risk of coming into the world as strangers, a condition in which they remain for the rest of their lives. An anthropologist will hardly be surprised, therefore, to discover that marriage is regarded in most societies as a religious condition. Rites of passage are conducted in the presence of the ancestors, and the ancestors are presided over by the gods. Religion is one way in which the long-term interests of the society may animate the short-term decisions of its present members. Hence, it is natural that marriage should be seen from within as something divinely ordained, with a sacred aura that reinforces the undertaken duties and elicits the support of the tribe. You don't have to be a religious believer to believe this or to see its point. You need only be aware of what is at stake. When people bring children into the world and claim those children as their own, what is at stake? Now the problem is that now Marxists have changed that idea as well, that it's not, nothing is nothing is at stake. Children don't need to be brought on this world. That I don't want to bring my child into this evil society. I don't want to bring my child into this asshole world. So I'll in fact leave the world to assholes. That's an insane argument. Okay, let me check some comments again. Marriage is Brahminical patriarchy. Yes. Everything must be wrong with society, nothing can be wrong with me. Oh yes, of course. So Jadavpur like things happen in a lot of universities. It happened in LPU in Jalandhar as well, as all students know, but nobody said anything. Unless the tormented get into a powerful clique, nothing helps. Yes. Why do you think people of my age are so much afraid of marriage? First of all, commitment phobia. कि अच्छा एक चीज़ करेंगे, पूरा ज़िंदगी इस चीज़ के साथ ये चीज़ करना पड़ेगा. अरे बाप रे, मुझे तो हर रोज़ किसी ना किसी को चोदना है. Because Friends, the web series, TV series, screwed our minds, and then further all movies and web series and television series that came out of West, and now the series, TV serials that are happening even in India, the web series that are happening in India, everything in pop culture, in every society is saying that commitment is bad or is problematic or is too much of a hassle. It's best if you sleep around. And of course, sleeping around is shown as a big achievement. Earlier, sleeping around used to be shown as a big achievement to men, to which religious people were always opposed to. Now, it's shown as an achievement to even women. तो तुम अपना achievement plus fun plus desire plus casual life जहाँ मिल रहा है, वो छोड़ के यहाँ पे कमिटमेंट, रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी, सैक्रिफाइस, ये भोसरी का काहे कोई आएगा यहाँ पे. और वैसे भी पॉपुलेशन भी ज़्यादा हो रहा है, ग्लोबल वार्मिंग हो जाएगा, तो बच्चे भी नहीं करना चाहिए ना, एंटी नेटलिस्ट होना चाहिए. तो ऑल आर्ग्यूमेंट्स आर अगेंस्ट मैरिज. दैट्स वाई. In USA, no-fault divorce has destroyed the marriage institutions. It's just like a live-in relationship, and of course, that's one big point, big reason. And of course, they are incentivized to be single moms because of Lyndon Johnson's policies in the late 60s, which said that if you are a single mom, here's some paisa, rakho, maze karo. If it's so much easy to get in and out of marriage, it's no different than unaccountable, irresponsible live-in relationships. Exactly, the idea of antinatality. Yes. It should not be that easy. In my opinion, up until the kid is 18 years old, divorce should be absolutely prevented, unless there's physical violence going on. Physical violence cannot be an excuse for divorce. Physical violence is an excuse to get that guy in prison. Okay, physical violence के वजह से उसको जेल भेजो. Physical violence की वजह से divorce नहीं चाहिए. अब अगर वो जेल गया तब तो automatically वो divorce है ही. मगर if physical violence is not going on, or if direct threats are not going on, if provable real life criminal activities are not going on, which are criminal regardless of whether it's in a marriage or not, okay, things like that. Other than that, divorce cannot be allowed unless the kid is 18 years old. Women have many legitimate concerns because they have got a raw deal by the society. Men have reasons because of terrible matrimonial laws. Also, Bollywood has aggravated this issue. Yeah, every pop culture has aggravated the issue. My friend has been divorced thrice at 34 years old. He is mentally destroyed. His parents are worried for him. He has a high-paying job, but now only watches porn and goes to job and gym. He is depressed. I hope Jim rescues him. दादा, डू यू नो शोयकत चक्रवर्ती? शोयकत चक्रवर्ती वो यूएसए वाला कि बंगाल में कोई शोयकत चक्रवर्ती है? वहाँ पे एक शोयकत चक्रवर्ती है, बर्नी सैंडर्स का एओसी का राइट हैंड था, जिसने सुभाष चंद्र बोस का टी शर्ट पहना था, इसलिए बहुत कंट्रोवर्सी हो गया था कि अमेरिकन्स गॉट स्पूक्ड दैट. अरे बाप रे, नाजिज्म का टी शर्ट पहना है भोसरी के. Let's see some other comments. How do you reconcile in Bharat's context that reservations expand up to 65%, which derail the economy up to a point of implosion as it did in Portugal, highest national debt per capita? Thomas Well. I'm saying yes. Reservations can't happen. No one can have reservations. Where to follow you on Twitter? College Street, Kolkata only. At Indic Economics. If two people without getting married live together, have sex, have kids, has legal recognition and social acceptance, how is it not marriage? What makes a marriage a marriage? Only inheritance now. Right. So marriage cannot be looked upon as anything other than religious. I was watching videos on Advaita Vedanta for many months, but what I found is that it does satisfy my intellectual hunger for spirituality, but in reality, bhakti makes me really connected to God. Yes, true. Because in terms of bhakti, in terms of using bhakti as your direct connection to God, you are taking the practitioner's experience. You are experiencing what the practitioner is supposed to experience. You are taking the practitioner's approach to this. Whereas when you are reading Advaita Vedanta, you are taking the scholarly approach. Both are fine. Dada, do you USA? Yes. Also infidelity. Yes. That's Rohika Chakraborty. Yeah. But a divorce is better than dysfunctional family, right? Not unless the kid is 18 years old. Dysfunctional family ka definition is also now too broad and too vague, too ambiguous. Parents have a fight, it's a dysfunctional family. You want a bike, parents didn't give you, it's a dysfunctional family. Okay, any confrontation is accused of being a dysfunctional family. That cannot be accepted. Any confront, just because you are a fucking pussy and you hate confrontation, that doesn't mean that anyone who's having a confrontation is now vying for the death of that other person. It's end of the world, confrontation ho gaya bapre. So what they say is dysfunctional family is very sus to begin with. Jim has not done anything after 1.5 years. He's still depressed and on some kind of medication. Oh, medication mein hai to tab koi bacha nahi payega. He is still depressed and on some kind of medication. His situation is the worst of all my friends. 3 of my friends are divorced, thus anti-marriage sentiment. Yes. 3 or 4 marriage हो गया तो तब तो क्या है? कुछ तरह somehow live, stay alive. अब क्या करे? And anyone who has a divorce once is 75% more prone to get a second divorce, and anyone who has had 2 divorces is 80% more prone to get a third divorce. It compounds exponentially. I am a devotee, but can you explain more lucidly about marriage being a religious institution? Because I relate it to myself and I am a devotee. What about others? Yes, others तो उस तरफ से ही ढूंढना पड़ेगा जो कि either looks at marriage as sacred, holy, religious, pious, as a religious responsibility, as even a social responsibility. Ki yes, I should get married because I want my ancestors to have a lineage. I want my family name to go on. Okay. I want to instill my good values on my kids and I want society to flourish. ये सब ideas अगर किसी में नहीं है तो marriage just for sex sake is going to be pretty problematic. But if someone believes in these things already, you are lucky. A kind of person you probably won't find in Bengal, not at least in Kolkata in the next 20 years, maybe outside Bengal and outside Kolkata. But if you do someone and you like someone and they have a reason to like you already based on some meetups or in the same class or same office that you go to, based on that you can say that okay, now I'm giving relationship advice, what the fuck. But based on what I know, based on the few positive nice meetups and hangouts, the good times you have spent, I'm finding this pretty insane that this is the first time I'm giving relationship advice now. It has to be a relationship advice, otherwise how do I say it? You have to tell them that, see, we had a great time, but these are my criteria. I am a believer. I believe marriage to be a religious institution, and believing it to be a religious institution means all those other things, that it's a social responsibility. I want my family name to go on. I want my good values to be instilled upon a brand new citizen in the society as well, because I love my country, because I love my society. One for all for one. Okay, I create great citizens for the society creates a great country, the country and the society takes care of me, all those things. For that, you have to be a patriot. You have to be proud of your religion. You have to be proud of your culture. You have to be proud of your gender. You have to be proud of your family. All those things. Maybe one or two of these things might not work, but at least most of all these things have to be there. And do you, who like me, based on these 5 or 6 hangouts that we have had, would you really subscribe to these things? Then we can go ahead with this relationship. Otherwise, it's sad, but I need to look for someone else. Love guru. The problem is men marry for love, but most women, modern women these days, marry for money and status. That is the issue, not problem. The cheating issue, adultery has been made too easy. Yes, and to be fair, up until a few years back, even men did not marry for love. Men also married for the idea, the social status that yes, I am a married man, I have a family. प्यार के लिए बहुत दिनों तक men भी marry नहीं करते थे. So it's a transition period we are facing. There's going to be some confrontation. We'll have to just adjust to it. আরে দাদা লাইকের কথা বলো না, দুঃখ লাগে, ছিল একজন কিন্তু হলো না, ইউনিভার্সাল ফ্রেন্ড দাদা হয়ে যায়। নাইস, just wait it out, bro. Most marriages that work these days is where the man has most of the cards in the relationship, where women will lose far more with divorce. Yeah. Let's see some other comments. Okay, no more comments then. अच्छा, ये डिस्कस करने में भी 2 घंटा हो गया. Nice. What do we any more questions are coming? Otherwise we'll end the live stream now. Mane say it as cool, men take care of his love with family, but if women has money, she doesn't need a man. Yeah, if you come across that kind of a woman, you need to run away as far as possible and not touch her with a 10-foot pole. Okay, it's the scariest situation. Practically, what is the timeline in which reservation would disappear or at least phase out in Bharat, considering its destructive effects? I am saying end reservation today, yesterday, end reservation right now. It does not need to be phased out. Reservation can be ended today. There's no justification for phasing out. There are other things justified for phasing out, like defunding sociology. That should be phased out. क्या अभी जो लोग graduation में घुस गए हैं भोसरी के, उनको अब कॉलेज से निकाल नहीं देना है. Let them complete graduation, let the professors get some retirement benefits, and look for jobs elsewhere, and these guys should do masters elsewhere. Same way, who has already done masters in sociology, let them do something else, or who are in the midway between masters, let them finish their education. But reservation should be ended today, right now. How old do you think the institution of marriage is? Depends on how old Manusmriti is actually, because Manusmriti has spoken of marriage. And before that, some kind of marriage always existed when men basically took women as hit them on the head and took them as chalo cave mein hum sex karte hain. So that was also a marriage at one point of time, but there was no, of course, fidelity kind of things. But a social institution, religious institution, fidelity, हम एक गार्हस्थ्य परिवार बनाएंगे, एक बच्चे पैदा करेंगे, बड़े करेंगे. That I would say is I think, okay, Arthashastra is written 2300 years ago, so I would say it's about at least 3000 years maybe, or 2500 to 3000 years old maybe, marriage. Have you read Arun Shori's book False Gods? No, I keep hearing about it. I have heard great things about it. I have read many excerpts and quotes about it, but I have not read the book yet. Okay, Madras musings. Here in Kerala, both men and women are finding it terribly hard to find a partner. Yes, नहीं मिलेगा. मार्क्सिज्म ने अच्छा से गाड़ मारा है पूरा मैरिज का. बहुत खेला होने वाला है. What happened to Shoikat Chakraborty afterwards? I don't know that. I guess he's doing some job and doing some politics work for the Democratic Party anyway. Do a collab with some other right-winger YouTuber. Yeah, रात के 12 बजे कैसे करें? If marriage is to work in modern times, we need mandatory prenups, DNA tests for children, and have some kind of monitoring device on the other partner without them knowing. Lol, maybe not the last one, but no. What you're saying is then also building upon. See, Marxist ने ये जो marriage को चोद के एक चूतिया version of marriage बनाया है, तुम्हारा suggestion क्या करेगा? उस पे build करेगा. मैं बोल रहा हूँ कि ये पूरा का पूरा कॉलम, ये पूरा पिलर ही निकाल देते हैं एंड लुक एट मैरिज विथ फ्रेश आइज, विच इज नॉट रियली फ्रेश आइज. वी विल री-लुक एट मैरिज विथ रिलीजियस आइज. And I think probably some of you hate when I bring up examples or arguments of Abrahamic people in our otherwise pretty Hindu discourse. But Ben Shapiro has a great argument in this case. He says that my marriage, I have 2 papers proving that I am married. One I was given by my rabbi in Israel. One was given to me by the government in USA. That one means absolutely nothing to me other than some tax deduction and bank accounts, etc. It's just a random piece of garbage paper. I keep it in my cupboard. My real proof of marriage has come from Israel. That's the way I want people to look at marriage. Yes, Svetaketu is a Vedic story. Heard that Svetaketu invented marriage after seeing his mother going with another man. Yes, I had read that. How old is that? Do you think it's older than 3000 years? There is a beautiful article on how monogamy saved humanity on Scientific American. Do read it. Yeah. I'm a big proponent of monogamy. Some even say rejecting a woman for a high body count is male insecurity. No, no, no. Rejecting a woman for high body count is as important as a woman rejecting a man for high body count. हाई बॉडी काउंट वाले लोगों में सबसे बड़ा प्रॉब्लम क्या होगा? उनका कोई सेक्सुअल डिसिप्लिन नहीं है, या फिर वो किसी ना किसी एक बंदे के साथ एक दिन बेहतर सेक्स किया था, आज जिसके साथ कमिटेड हूँ उससे ज़्यादा, और वो हमेशा उसको उसके माइंड को हैम्पर करते रहेगा. और the bigger problem is that they will probably not find their current married partner as sexually attractive. And there are other problems as well, that your validation, your security, all is predicated on how much you are able to satisfy someone in the bed. सेक्स करने के बाद किसी ने तुमको बोला कि अरे तुमने वो ब्लोजॉब बहुत बढ़िया दिया, या फिर तुमने वो कनिलिंगस इतना अच्छा दिया, क्या बात है. और ये अगर 30-40 लोग मिलके तुमको बोला है, ठीक है, 10-20 सालों से, और फिर तुमको जाके अब एक आदमी के साथ या एक महिला के साथ पूरा वही 50-60 साल बिताना है, तो वो वैलिडेशन तो गया काम से. मगर तुम्हारा वैलिडेशन पूरा साइकी पूरा वो वैलिडेशन के ऊपर डिपेंडेंट हो गया था. माइंड तो है एडिक्टेड होने वाला चीज़, कुछ भी अच्छा चीज़ दो उस पर एडिक्टेड हो जाता है जल्दी से. तो तुम्हारा माइंड अगर एडिक्टेड है उस वैलिडेशन पे, और अब वो पूरा वन फाइन मॉर्निंग गायब मैरिज के बाद से, तो यू आर फक्ड. एंड द सोल्यूशन दैट लिबरल्स कम अप विथ इज दैट ओपन मैरिज थिंग, कि अच्छा हम बच्चे भी पैदा करेंगे, बच्चे को प्यार भी करेंगे, खुद से भी प्यार करेंगे, मगर बहुत लोगों को चोदेंगे भी. दैट कांट वर्क एट द एंड ऑफ द डे, बिकॉज the child gets really wrong signals. That kid also does not understand what the fuck does it mean to have a parent, a mother and father who loves each other. So it's absolutely fair for anyone to reject any person from any gender for high body count. Okay, marriage is older. Some even say rejecting a woman. Yeah, marriage is older at about 9,500 years ago. Bhagwan Pashupati and Devi Devta's artifacts were found in Bhirana, so a 9,500 year continuation of civilization. I will say that they did get married, but I'm saying monogamous marriage. Okay, monogamous marriage and fidelity is bad. ये सब confirmation दे के marriage कब से शुरू हुआ उसका I think for that my metric I think is I suspect is probably 3,000 years. On this subject of marriage, Jordan Peterson has had great arguments. Yes, read my comment. Abhay comment. एक मिनट, टॉप चैट न्यू लाइव चैट करते हैं. Wait, the chat is getting refreshed. Okay, let's see what Abhay commented. Abhay is saying our pop culture has glorified women who commit adultery. Also, they get alimony and maintenance. They also file false dowry cases. Yes, डाउरी के बात में एक मज़ेदार चीज़ है. उसके पहले मैं एक बात बताता हूँ. पॉप कल्चर ग्लोरिफिकेशन के बारे में ये बेन शपीरो का ये मज़ेदार आर्ग्यूमेंट है कि फेमिनिज्म वाज फर्स्ट आर्ग्यूइंग दैट men are pigs. Then feminism started saying that women ought to also be pigs. That shouldn't work. And religious people have always hated modernity and have always said that men who behave like pigs, men who sleep around with lots of women are also, that's also not an acceptable behavior. But women did not listen to the religious people, but magically hated a strawman argument and used that as an argument against men and religious people, that you were defending men. Religious people only said that men should not go around sleeping with men. Okay, it was liberalism for men, modernity for men, which justified and glorified men who were sleeping around with lots of women. Later generation liberals used that liberal men's argument against men in general and religious people in general and said that now ab to hum bhi ye karenge. Ajeeb baat hai. Okay, so the other thing I wanted to say is that yeah, I had read once an answer from a PhD professor in USA regarding dowry, okay, on Quora. क्या बयान था, वाह. बोला कि Saudi Arabia is freer for women than India because there are lesser dowry deaths in Saudi Arabia than in India. Saudi Arabia में dowry deaths कम होता है इंडिया से, इसलिए Saudi Arabia is better than India, bro. Okay, if marriage is to work, हाँ, Parakram Divya, have you read Arun Shuri's stories? Shweta Ketu, marriage is older on the subject. Okay, thankfully my cousin in UP Bihar are getting married in their 20s. It's a sacred duty. Yeah, good. But in order for them to stay in the marriage and not get deviated and distracted with all the pop culture sexual glorification bullshit, they will have to basically avoid watching these pop culture bullshit, or watch those pop culture bullshit with the prior notion that what I am watching about their views on sexuality is definitely bullshit. They have to view it consciously. It can't come as a surprise to them. Oh अच्छा, बहुत लोगों को चोदना अच्छा बात है, तब मेरे इस बीवी को लेके क्या करे, how about I try to fuck that other girl. तो वो होने से बहुत प्रॉब्लम हो जाएगा. There has to be awareness about this, that no, what this film is trying to sell to me, I'm not buying that. अदर देन दैट अगर उसमें कुछ अच्छा एक्शन वैक्शन है, थ्रिलर है, वो देख लेते हैं, मगर हीरो ने किसने लड़कियों को चोदा वो हम एक्सेप्ट नहीं करेंगे. But Hindus weren't compulsorily monogamous before Hindu code bill. Yes, but a lot of them were, and it was encouraged in Manusmriti as well. We also do not know the timeline of civilization, since younger Dryas destroyed the Gopki Tepi civilization 11,500 years ago. So we do not know how many extinction cycles have reset civilization. That is a good point. Do you think it is possible that it was completely a reset before and after the Ice Age? I mean, let's say some people were doing ooga booga and were hitting people with clubs and taking them into caves, and then that civilization became really and that tribe became really civilized, and then a natural disasters happened, and then they become again tribal people again. I don't think that is the case. Some remnants of civilization would remain, but 11,500 years for a civilization, for at least human civilization, is fair to argue, because there are civilized archaeological evidences found which are 11,500 years old in Turkey. तो अगर टर्की में हुआ था तब यहाँ पे तो और भी अच्छा क्लाइमेट था. I don't think it's ever the case that India was ever a desert. The Haryana, Rajasthan, Harappa, Mohenjo-daro parts, they were not deserts, but that does not mean rest of India was a desert. So most of India was fertile forever. तो अगर टर्की में जबकि वहाँ पे भी फर्टाइल लैंड्स था, वहाँ पे सिविलाइजेशन हो गया था, यहाँ पे सिविलाइजेशन क्यों नहीं होगा? तो उनका एक एडवांटेज यही है कि वहाँ पे, क्योंकि वहाँ पे बाद में डेजर्ट हो गया, इसलिए आज भी वहाँ से 11,000 साढ़े 11,000 साल एविडेंसेस मिलते हैं, क्योंकि वो तो अबैंडन्ड डेजर्ट जगह है ना. हमारा तो फर्टाइल लैंड है, उसके ऊपर शहर के ऊपर शहर, शहर के ऊपर शहर, ये हम बनाते गए हैं. ये पूरा बनारस खोद दो, पता नहीं क्या क्या निकलेगा. बनारस में ये नदी जा रहा है, यहाँ से अचानक पहाड़ कहाँ से आ गया? Okay, it's all buried deep archaeological things, in my personal opinion. And I have this pet conspiracy theory that Shushunia Pahar in West Bengal is also a monument or some old ancient temple structure of some sort, because there's no mountain or no hill nearby that Shushunia hill anywhere. Okay, but it's just randomly one single hill, and nearby on the footsteps of the hill, वहाँ पे there have been found 2,000 year old to 2,500 year old some kings artifacts. There are some ancient temple-ish things, some religious symbols are there, but the rest of it is a mountain. So I think it's a structure which became a mountain, because that's what happens, right? The Mundeshwari temple, which was built in 600 AD in Bihar, or all the Mayan Incan pyramids, all of them became mountains. Even there's a sort of a smaller colosseum in not the main colosseum, okay, a smaller colosseum in I think Turkey, which had turned into a mountain. क्या होता है कि कोई भी स्ट्रक्चर, उसके ऊपर अगर वो abandoned हो जाए, उसके ऊपर धूल मिट्टी जमते रहेगा, ढक जाएगा, फिर लोग भूल ही जाएंगे कि ये पहाड़ है, इसके अंदर कुछ था, क्योंकि लोगों ने तो यहाँ पे ये जगह abandon करके चले गए. तो उसके ऊपर जमते जाएगा और भी जमते जाएगा, और एक दिन एकदम ऐसे लगेगा कि ये ऑब्वियसली पहाड़ है, ये पहाड़ के अलावा कुछ हो ही नहीं सकता है. तो आई थिंक दैट्स द सेम थिंग might have happened with Shushunia पहाड़ as well. It's one random hillock. So we have this problem that our land is so fertile that no one abandons this place. So many of our evidences and artifacts go missing. So what you are arguing, that 9,500 years ago we may have had monogamous marriages, it might be the case. We just don't know it yet. But I'm suspecting since 2,300 years ago, when Chanakya is talking about marriage so so obvious and absolutist terms, I suspect that it's a very obvious institution to him. For that, I'm arguing that it might not be just a 200, 300 year old institution when he was writing the Arthashastra. It might have been at least 1000 years old. So let's say 3000 years old, maybe, marriages. What do you think about Hidimba? Besides your personal opinion, considering the state of Bharat's socialist nation discourse in general, when will reservation disappear? I don't think. Without my personal opinion, it will never disappear. In that case, Desai Deepak's band-aid policy is better. कि रिजर्वेशन रखो ताकि ये लोग कन्वर्ट ना करे क्रिश्चियनिटी में, या फिर अगर नरेंद्र मोदी उतना ही पॉपुलर है सच में, उनको लेट हिम मेक अ पर्सनल अपील दैट सी ब्रदर्स, you all have had these benefits for 2-3 years. If you are now prosperous, let go of the reservation. Change your category to general and let some other people who really need it have it. But that's not how it's going to be pursued. It should not be pursued. Reservation will never go away in a democratic setting, especially in India, unless we have a strongman dictator who enjoys popular support. Forget about abolishing reservation. Or if the critical mass becomes free market capitalist oriented, if like let's say a general mass of population believes in Thomas Sowellish ideas that they understand reservation is actually bad for society, it creates bad incentives. In that case, reservation can go away someday. अरे स्क्रॉल बटन का ना एक प्रॉब्लम होता है, थोड़ा स्क्रॉल किया पूरा 4-5 कमेंट नीचे चला गया. हाँ मिला. जब तक सनीमा pop culture has glorified adultery and somehow it has made to be okay in these modern times. If that is reversed, then maybe something can be done. Yes, pop culture needs to take up some responsibility. That it's great. It's great to take up these things. Great to be responsible. Great to be monogamous. Oh my God, to glorify masturbation using Sanatan Dharma as justification. Honahi tha. If it was encouraged, why almost nobody in Mahabharata is monogamous? Because Mahabharata was written about 5,000 years ago, 4,000 years ago. Okay. People do follow pop culture and don't let it affect very much, but over a long period of time, it has its effect. Yes. Now the difference is that Mahabharata में मोनोगैमी जो नहीं है, दैट वाज नॉट ग्लोरिफाइड कि देखो मैंने कितना बड़ा झंडा गाड़ा बिकॉज आई एम नॉट मोनोगैमस. इट वाज शोन एज एन ऑब्वियस थिंग, सो नो वन रियली फेल्ट द नीड टू परस्यू इट जस्ट बिकॉज इट्स मेंशन्ड इन महाभारत. बट इन मॉडर्न पॉप कल्चर इट्स मेंशन्ड as a glorious achievement. When was Mahabharata written according to you guys? I think I've heard a friend of mine who's basically a nationalist and free market guy but believes in all Marxist history say that Mahabharata was written in 300 or 400 AD. Okay. Now if Mahabharata is written in 300-400 AD and then there's rampant monogamy, then of course we have to concede that monogamy was the commonplace thing in India even in 300-400 AD, in which case it would not go away randomly in 800 AD or 1000 AD. So before Hindu law, Hindu code, was everyone having monogamous marriages? That wasn't the case. Why wasn't that happening then? Okay, why was monogamy a general natural progression in society? That has to be pondered over. It's not like people started having monogamous marriages only after Hindu law. It became commonplace after Hindu law, Hindu code. People do follow, okay, here to learn, because almost all the known cases are of one or other royal family, right? Some exceptions for monogamy do exist in our scriptures, but it was mostly out of moral ground to protect the women or something, yes. As sarcasm today, I texted a female friend, don't use one guy to forget another, use 2 or 3, and now I see that in the status of so many girls, it's scary as hell. When pop culture starts selling an idea in bulk, it does have impact over a period of time, especially if an idea is addictive, yes. My ancestors came from around Shushunia Hill, okay. So your ancestors are probably Ram Bhakts also, because right next to Shushunia Pahad is a place called Ayodhya in Bengal. Okay. In older Kerala, there was the custom where Nair women can have as many partners. Yeah, so it was a matrilineal society. Have as many partners as they wish. It was a matriarchy. It was fucked up from the beginning. Concept of monogamy is comparatively new for Kerala. I don't think it was matriarchy. It was matrilineal as far as I know. That's the same with Northeast as well. The Gopki Tepe civilization had homes, rituals, and worship, etc. In India, we must have had civilization as well, but we might have faced resets as well, like with plagues or some under threats. Resets in terms of population. I don't think resets are possible in terms of the gathered knowledge and customs and civilization, etc. Okay. तो as far as your argument that वहाँ पे गोप के टेपे था तो यहाँ पे ज़रूर होगा, that I agree with. Yeah. वहाँ पे हुआ था तो यहाँ पे डेफिनेटली हुआ था क्योंकि वो ऑस्ट्रोलॉइड जो कि बंगाल के ट्राइबल्स का जो एंसेस्ट्री है, ऑस्ट्रोलॉइड पीपल, दे केम टू Indian landmass according to Marxist historians 42,000 years ago, although Sanjeev Sanyal argues that they went out of India 4,000 years ago. तो वो तो है ही, मगर अदर देन दैट इट्स इतना क्लाइमेट अच्छा जगह है, शोशो श्यामला बांग्ला भारतवर्ष, तो लोग क्यों नहीं आएंगे यहाँ पे. It's around 5 generations ago they used to live there. Wow. Manu was a royal, yeah, Rajarishi Manu. He was a Kshatriya. Sri Ram was royal but admired for monogamy, right? But Krishna and Mahabharata characters are highly polygamous. Why is it so? This though you should answer because you are the one who has more knowledge of Indian scriptures. But yes, good point. Ram is known for monogamy. When was Ramayana written? Why was monogamy shown as the aspirational model with Ramayana? Do read Scientific American article on evolution of monogamy to understand why other hominids died because they were not monogamous, as monogamy provides the best chance of survival for offspring. Yes. And I have heard this from Marxist sociologists as well that marriage का वैसे religious या प्यार व्यार का कुछ चक्कर तो है नहीं. Marriage was basically done by religious elders so that everyone didn't die of STD because sexually transmitted diseases were becoming so rampant. अरे सबको चोदोगे तो लड़ा जिंदा कौन रहेगा, तो एक के साथ ही रहो. Okay. Here to learn. One, Mahabharata was monogamous because they were Sakhlonde. They were royal. Yes, our land is actually very moist and heavily farmed too. So most evidences get wiped out. Yeah. This is why Indus Valley bodies are so rare and Rakhigari was a huge. Yes. On a lighter note, marry your girlfriend Bondhu. Mera Ashirwad hai. Yeah. Thank you. If we take Dashavatar chronology, Manu comes in first avatar Matsya and Rama is long after that and Krishna after that. Yeah, and Krishna is Asura according to Bengali Dravidians. Okay. Bharat has survived 1,000 years of Islamic invasion, 500 years of Catholic colonization. 500 years, kahan se? 200 years. 75 years of Marxist socialism. So I believe some socialist policies won't be special. Never underestimate Bharat. Yes. Manuvadi, Fashivati, Hindutwadi. Exactly. They were Ram Bhakt, still are. I see. Wow. Do you think Hirimba Chitrangada Ulupi were ceremonially married or hooked up and respected it as a marriage? I think the latter. They hooked up and it got accepted as marriage because Manusmriti has given countless 8 forms of marriage, right? So wo justification to hai hi. Okay, comments are over then. Unless if any more comments are not coming, then we'll end the live stream. Great discussion today. Okay, if your girlfriend will watch this stream, your secrets may be out. Yeah, she does watch it secretly from time to time. She never comments. She some days she says that I watched half of it. I watched the last 1 hour. I watched the first 1 hour. That's that kind of things. Okay then. Good night, guys. See you tomorrow, most probably, or day after tomorrow. Great discussion today. Hope we have some solutions for ending ragging in Jadavpur University, and do comment about what are your solutions for ending ragging in places like Jadavpur University, okay, where there is a stronghold of students union. My only solution, I think, is that student unions need to absolutely cease to exist. Just one fine morning they need to go away. नहीं तो ये laws, ये policies कुछ enforce ही नहीं किया जा सकेगा, क्योंकि कोई ना कोई आके किसी ना किसी को आके सिर्फ भोसड़ी वाले घेराव करते रहेंगे तो लॉ और स्ट्रॉन्ग लॉ करो और स्ट्रॉन्ग लॉ करो, नहीं होगा. स्ट्रॉन्ग लॉ हो, वीक लॉ हो, अगर कोई परसू ही नहीं करने देगा कैंपस में बिकॉज ऑफ देयर स्टूडेंट यूनियन, बिकॉज ऑफ देयर स्टूडेंट पॉलिटिक्स, देन इट्स नॉट गोइंग टू बी अ सोल्यूशन. If you can think of other solutions that can be helped in preventing deaths like Swapnadeep Kundu's, may he rest in peace. Om Shanti. I hope no one else has to jump off the balcony screaming I am gay ever again in Jadavpur University or any university. So if you all have any other solution for that, let us know in the comment section. We will check out all the great comments and have a discussion. Happy Independence Day, everyone. Yes. Yeah. Dasharatha showed us that 4 wives is not pragmatic at all. Yeah, 3 wives. Okay then. Good night, guys.